play a part in conducting the county's business this morning. This is our first of the month meeting for the month of February 2025. We've got Supervisor Carver on the phone this morning. Supervisor Carver, are you there?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Well, if you don't mind, Supervisor Carver, would you lead us in a word of prayer?
Absolutely, my honor. Let's pray. Father, we just thank you for this time to join first meeting of the month, Lord. Just be with each and every person to make decisions. Let us just speak with honesty, integrity, and truth, Lord. Let us just be a body that represents you well and treat each other with respect. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Supervisor Carver. We're going to begin our meeting this morning. First on the agenda, we've got the approval of the January board minutes. Are there any corrections, observations? If not, can we get a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Motion by Supervisor Trainer, second by Supervisor Williams. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Next on the agenda, we've got our citizens comment period. Any citizen can approach the board up to 3 minutes and discuss whatever your topic is. Good morning.
Good morning.
State your name, please.
They just told me to come right up. So
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Have a seat.
Oh,
please.
goodness. Okay.
State your name and who you're with. And
Sure. I'm Stacy Parvin, and I'm with the Starkville Community Foundation. How are you? Someone here has taught me most of what I know here.
Where have you been?
Where have I been? Well, I've been working for our community. Trying to raise funds to do all the
That's okay. That's not a problem.
I had something to do with growing up.
Yeah. You
Something
helped raise me.
very small amount.
Right, you helped raise me for sure. And then I've known others around the table too in different capacities. So it's an honor to be with you this morning. I'm the executive director of the Starkville Community Foundation, and we have been working hard to do good for our community. We think Starkville is the best place to live and to work and to learn and to play. And so in less than 2 years since I've been there, we've raised over $200,000 to better this community. Probably the last thing we were involved in was working with the great emergency management program we have here in the county to make sure that we had funding for all of the people who were displaced by fires with our great fire department as well, to make sure that they all had places to stay across the holidays, because a fire is never a good time for anybody, but particularly painful across the holidays. So that was a privilege to do. So we're just out here in your community working to make sure that we stay a wonderful place to live and work and play. Our teachers were just honored with innovative teacher grants at the banquet with the partnership on Thursday night, and so that's putting $1,000 to teachers' hands to do what they know they need to do in their classroom. So we're active. We resurfaced the community tennis courts. Which serve the whole community, just, working with our mayor and the schools and making sure we can get the funding for that going. We've got backpack buddies going to make sure that hungry kids get food. So we've got a lot of neat things going on. So what I want to invite you to do is to invest in the Starkville Community Foundation when and if the sale of the hospital goes through. That way, I'm just going to throw a number out, $6 million. If you invest with us, then that way, that money stays in the community. Our partners that we support regularly are Habitat for Humanity, the J.L. King Center, Friends of the Public Library, and Starkville Strong. And those are the great organizations here in town that are keeping Starkville great, that are working on affordable housing, that are working on bills, that are working on, bringing people out of poverty, reading, which is such an important part of people's lives. And so we just want to make sure that that money stays in the community and stays here and continues to be invested here. And what we would do with it is invested in our endowment, and then we use 4% of that every year to support those 4 partners in your town. So that's what I would just like to invite you to do, when and if this sale of the hospital goes through. And I'm happy to come back and talk at another time officially.
Our board attorney.
Thank you. This has nothing to do with this board, but is the Feeding the Child program that y'all do, is that tied with the YMCA, program, or is it totally separate?
It's not. Susan Tomlinson, started it out of First United Methodist Church, and that's typically where it comes out of, but it has now been a community effort. And with a generous gift this year, we are able to expand it to the high school too, so.
Would y'all be interested in
Sure.
attaching, there's some federal grant dollars out there, is the
Yeah.
reason I'm asking.
Sure.
And we're trying to get some legislation instead of being a 5-day, well, y'all may not be like this, but YMCA and the federal government, in Mississippi, we're only feeding these kids 5 days a week. And I'm trying to get 2 more days added to it, so we'll talk.
Yeah, I'll get you connected with
Thank you.
Susan.
Okay.
But, we're
You
doing.
offer great service all over, Occidental County.
Thank you. Well, we do, I mean, it's a great place, so it's very fun to do this work about my hometown that I love very much, so thank y'all for the privilege of speaking.
Thank you for coming to the
Yeah, I
board,
appreciate y'all
and,
service.
just a little side note, we do give, grant funding to all of those organizations that you mentioned, but it's certainly worth another conversation with you.
Great,
on
I'd be
that.
happy to talk to you more about it.
Thank you so much.
Thank y'all very much.
Motion to acknowledge, motion by Supervisor Trainer, second by Supervisor Little, that we acknowledge, the comments from Ms. Stacy Parvin. All in favor? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Thank you. Anybody else that would like to approach the board during citizens' comment period?
Supervisor Howard, I had a visit from Miss Jean Marshall earlier in the month.
Okay, well, let me close.
Oh, I'm sorry.
At this point, citizens' comment period is closed. Go ahead,
I had a visit from Miss Jean Marslick early in the month regarding the Unity Park Committee. I failed to get her on the formal agenda, but if y'all would, help me, I promised that I would get her on the agenda. And so if we could insert her now to allow her to give her, information.
If it pleases the board, we'll let Ms. Marshall come forward. Good morning.
Good morning. And I'd like to add, that I think there's another, part of Starkville that could be added to, Ms. Harvin's, message of saying how great Starkville is, because I think the Unity Park adds a lot to our community.
Absolutely.
And I hear all the time how, impressed people are, especially if they come from another community, to see this. And to go over there and see that we're recognizing people all around the
Well,
country.
you have certainly done a yeoman's job in, keeping that Unity Park going, and we certainly do appreciate it.
And we're a lot cheaper too, than $6 billion.
Absolutely.
That would be great.
Thank you.
But anyway, I did want to come and talk to you this morning. First, I wanted to thank you again for funding the Unity Park Committee this year. We try each year to use the funds as carefully and as frugally as we can. This year to date, our funding has been spent on updating our website. We will be also adding the biographies of the new Unity Park honorees to it and purchasing a plaque for the park on which their names will be engraved. Additionally, we will replace shrubs that have died due to the drought and severe cold. Excuse me. Finally, we hope to buy some tents to use to ward off the spring and summer heat. We hope the board will be able to supply some help with putting those tents up when they are needed. In the future, we would like to purchase a permanent cover over the open area of the park, similar to the one that was in front of Cadence Bank before the university took it over. I don't know if you remember that. There was a little triangular shaped, I don't know how to explain it, but if you ever looked at Cadence Bank, you would see it up there. And it kind of shaded that whole front area of Cadence Bank. And our problem is, like, when we have anything on Juneteenth in particular, it's terribly hot out.
Boiling,
I remember, because you remember from last year. And anyway, so this is the idea, and until we can get that figured out how we're going to do that, we want to buy these tents. So anyway, last year we honored the new Unity Park honorees on Martin Luther King Day. But we decided to change that due to the possibility of very cold and inclement weather on Martin Luther King Day. Last year, the relatives of the honorees came from long distances. I think some of them came from Nebraska. And they got here and learned that the whole ceremony had been canceled. And there was great disappointment. And I had to deal with that, and I don't want to repeat that again. So that's why we changed it, and that's why I'm here 2 months later. I usually come in November. So today I want to announce the new Unity Park honorees. The first is Professor W.C. Willie Childs Henderson, who was born in 1894 and died in 1984. Excuse me, I'm having throat problems here. He was the grandson of George Washington Childs, who we honored last year. Professor W.C. Henderson is known throughout this community for his 46 years of service as an outstanding educator. He began his teaching career in 1915, and after teaching for 3 years at Ebenezer County Public School, he moved to Starkville and taught at Public School No. 2, which was known as the Hill, Hardscrabble, and Oktibbeha County Training School. Ironically, that school, Oktibbeha County Training School, was built on the land that his grandfather, W.C. Childs, owned. Later, under his administration and as principal, the training school was demolished and 3 new facilities were constructed and named Henderson High School, Henderson Middle School, and Henderson Elementary School. Professor Henderson focused on achievement in education, encouraging his faculty to be role models and to stress discipline and education beyond high school. Students came from all over the county to attend the high school, and they actually boarded students here in this area so that they would be able to come and spend the week. And I lost my place here. But Professor Henderson focused on achievement in education, encouraging his faculty to be role models and to stress discipline and education beyond high school. The school became known for its quality education. Professor W.C. Henderson had a huge impact on this education of African American youth in Oktibbeha County during segregation. When he retired in 1964, he received an award of distinction and a certificate of merit from the Mississippi Department of Education. Some of you may have known him, or maybe went to school with him. And so there's, from what I understand, there's a great deal of respect for him and excitement that we're honoring him.
It sure is.
The second honoree is David Rogers. David was born in 1912 and died in 2010. He grew up in Oktibbeha County and worked his entire career to make change for his family and other families. His goals were self-sufficiency and independence, and he felt that educationally and economically individuals could be successful. David joined the Army in 1942 and returned to Starkville in 1945, where he was involved in the educational system, business, agricultural affairs, and political changes. He became a Mason, and at the meetings, he had the opportunity to talk about voting and to encourage others to vote. It was at these meetings for justice that some think the Oktibbeha County Civil Rights Movement began. He farmed during the daytime and attended civil rights meetings at night. Through his farming, he was able to educate his children and provide food for others. He was the owner of a sawmill and helped other people by providing them with firewood and lumber. David improved the condition of African Americans throughout Oktibbeha County by encouraging education, voter registration, voting, and taking an active role in civil rights. In his later life, he received many honors, which included being the Grand Marshal in the Oktibbeha County Christmas Parade in 2009 and receiving proclamations from the U.S. House of Representatives, the Mississippi House of Representatives, the Oktibbeha County Board of Supervisors, and a certificate from President Barack Obama for many years of service. So these are this year's honorees, and they will be honored this year on Juneteenth, which will be celebrated on Saturday, June 21st. So
David Rogers, that's Mr. Payne Rogers. Call Mr. Payne Rogers.
Oh, he was? I knew him. I did know him because he would always show up with his daughter Peggy Rogers
Peggy Rogers.
at precinct caucuses
Yeah.
And he was always there, he was a very faithful member of that as long as he lived. So I wondered if you had any questions about either of these two, or anything else I mentioned about the tents, or, what we hope to do with covering the park. We haven't priced that, but I'm afraid it probably might take several years before we can save up enough from our budget that you give us every year, unless we can, ask you for additional funds in the future. But anyway, so that's my report.
Any questions?
I was just gonna say, you know, if you could get some pricing and stuff and just, you know, give it to our county administrator at some point.
Okay,
You know,
well, I have,
at some point, when
and I
we
did
get
wanna
ready to
say-
budget time, we can, you know, look at all that.
okay, it would be great, I think it would be a great addition over there, because I think people would use it more in the summertime, or in the, but it's so hot, and last year, Marvell, was, the, master of ceremonies at our event, and he remembers it was, a lot of people ended up sitting in the middle, and then suddenly, we had two little tents off to the side, and they ended up coming over and sitting under those little tents. So anyway, that would be a great idea, I really appreciate that, and we will look into the cost. I think the main costs are the poles that would hold this up, that, from what I've been told. So it's not the cover itself, it's the poles that would hold it up that are very expensive, but.
Supervisor Williams?
Yes, there are individuals who have repeatedly asked me about installing electrical outlets so they would not have to run a cord, and that might have already been done,
I think it
has been done. But they have
I
to-
remember when Dolores, was there,
Yeah.
we talked about that.
Yeah, but they now have to run a cord, I believe, from across the street, I believe, all the way to the.
I think that, I'll check on that.
I think it was from the, yeah, I think, if I'm not mistaken, but we'll check, I think outlets has been installed over there, I think.
And another thing that we have had problems with, but I think that has been taken care of, with keeping the shrubs watered, because there was the only watering outlet is on that building, the education building right next door. There is an outlet there, but, and Dylan Carges is the person that takes care of the grounds and waters when he has a chance. And I think he's figured out how to do that, so I think that's all right, but I'm not sure about the electrical thing. Where would they have put that? I don't even know where they would have put that.
I think they put it somewhere up next to where the podium.
I think it's a whole system. I mean, I walked by there and for
I'll
some
have to
reason.
go over there and take a look.
I think it's been installed, I think Darryl got it taken care of.
Okay, so that's my report for this year.
Mr. President, you gonna look into that?
Yeah, we will, we certainly will. We certainly will.
Thank you very much.
Okay, well, thank you so much, and the two individuals are certainly deserving.
We think so.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
And they have needed to be recognized for a long time.
Well, thank you so
You're
much
welcome.
for what you do and the rest of the committee.
And if you have any
Certainly do
questions, you know where to find me.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate all you said.
You're welcome, thank you.
Motion by Supervisor Trainer, second by Supervisor Little to acknowledge report from, Ms. Marslake and the Unity Park Committee. Any questions? All in favor? Motion passes unanimously.
May I just say one more thing before I leave? The one thing I did wanna say is, it was, a sad moment for me to come here today without Chris Taylor being here, because he was always here.
Yeah.
It was a terrible shock, and he was a member of, one of the first members of that committee. And he was always there and very, trustworthy and helpful to me. And so, we're planning a program on, the 24th of this month at the library to honor him, and it's gonna be about the integration of Starkville Public Schools.
Okay.
So we're gonna be planning that tomorrow night at our meeting.
What date is that?
February 24th, it's a Monday night.
Thank you for that observation, Chris, is certainly still missed. And I tell this little story, over 50-some thousand people, in Oktibbeha County, and there was one person that you could count on from time to time to pop in the boardroom and just say thank you for what you do. Not coming to, but just pop in and say thank you for what you do, and that was Chris Taylor. Certainly will, certainly will. So thank you again. Okay, we're gonna move down our agenda to the Sutter Elementary School, touch a truck, Miss Kimberly Nichols. Good morning.
Good morning.
Like you said, I'm from Sutter Elementary School PTO, representing them. I am part of the planning committee for the Touch a Truck event that we have been hosting the last 3 years. This will be our 4th year. We in the past have had vehicles from several private businesses. The city puts vehicles in from like police department and everything, but from the county, we have had the road department, fire departments, and sheriff department have brought vehicles to have there, and that's what we are asking again this year, if y'all can provide those so the kids can learn more, have hands-on activities and everything. I think it was the patrol car last year from the sheriff's department. I'm not sure which fire departments were represented. I'm pretty sure it was East Octavia because I recognize some of them, but a pumper engine, a brush truck, and the ATV sprayer. Kids really like that, being able to shoot cups down with the water sprayer and everything. There's always a line there. And then the road department had a 10 or 18 wheel dump truck. Either one of those would be sufficient. And then a knuckle boom truck. But the kids, they basically get to go in and look at all the controls, and I know the fire department had several things set up, like showing how to work different equipment and everything. So some hands-on and some just looking. We had over 1,600 in attendance last year, with over 600 of that being children. So it's pretty full, a long day. It's from 10 to 2, and the people that would be there, we asked the vehicles are set up by 9:30, so we're able to get everything in place before it actually starts at 10. And then at 2 o'clock, they're rolling out. By 2:10, all the vehicles are gone.
What's the date?
It is April 26th, Saturday, from 10 to 2, yes sir. We work with other organizations in the in the community to make sure that we don't fall on the same day as we have in the past, so it's not going to be like the same as the vet school open house or the international fiesta day, or there's been a few other things happening on the same day, but it's not happening this year, so hopefully the attendance will be up more.
What's the location?
At Sutter Elementary. We have vehicles set up along Greenfield Street right in front of the school, and the funds that we raise from this, PTO helps the school with improvements. In the past, we've replaced the auditorium curtains that have been there since the beginning, but they look fresh and they're all new, and all the programs all the kids do look great. The past few years, that money went towards updating a courtyard right off of the cafeteria area that now is able to be used for like an outdoor classroom space. And our goal is to have another courtyard on the campus. We're not sure which one yet. That's up to Dr. Abraham once we get some funds going again, but just kind of revamp those, maybe add some more tables and everything, but it's all going towards improving and leaving it better than when we got there.
You offer good service, great experience for the children.
It is. It's very educational. They all love it. We do from 10 to 1, there's, it's called horn-free time. So no honking the horns, no sirens or anything, but that 1 to 2 o'clock hour, bring your earplugs.
Motion for approval.
Second.
It's been motioned by Supervisor Williams, second by Supervisor Trainer. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion passes unanimously. Well, we've got our fire coordinator and our assistant road manager back there, so they will certainly get you what vehicles you would like.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next on the agenda, we've got, Cook Survey, Mr. James Cook. Morning, sir.
Good morning. I've got y'all 5 copies of this plat. So what that is, that's a copy of the plat I've done for your property out at the county barn at Cannon Road in Old 82. If you, the top parcel, that parcel 1, that is what is on the tax map, if you will, that's what shows up. The triangle portion down at the bottom is a deed I found to y'all from MDOT for access right-of-way where they sold it to y'all. And I've got a copy of that deed here. But that is the portion that was missing, and that was the portion that the adjacent property owner was kind of confused.
The adjacent property owner is here. I just wanted to make certain if he had any questions, if it's okay with the board while we're dealing with this.
Yeah, and that's not a problem. What you see, the reason on the left, all those deed book and page numbers, just to be fair to everyone, I started doing a title search, if you will. And I went as far back as, the 100 books, And I think the confusion came was when the deeds have been copied year after year after year after year, exactly the same. Well, the problem was that the property, the parent property that Mr. Granville's came out of was originally all that quarter section north of the old Mayhew Road. Okay, Old Mayhew Road ended up becoming 82, and then they realigned it several times. The MDOT property actually comes from Mr. and Mrs. Clayton and a couple of other people, and I've got a whole report lineage of this. And so the confusing thing was that the deeds weren't, well, they were copied, but they were really old deeds, and this deed here from MDOT just somehow got left out in the lineage.
When you say left out, you mean not left out as far as it being at the clerk's office, but left out of the mapping.
Yeah, and I mean, I've seen that, I do work all over the state and in Alabama also, and I see that a lot. I mean, it's just the mapping companies have so many resources and they do what they can, but if you don't get in the sectional index, you just miss a lot of, you just don't know it's there.
Right.
And this is, let's see.
I believe you sent me all of your title work on this. Is that?
Well, I've got some more stuff since, but this is a
Okay.
copy of the deed from MDOT, and so once I found that, I actually went to MDOT and requested, and believe it or not, they actually had these original.
Oh, you're kidding.
Oh no, same day. This is Old Mayhew Road. This is when it becomes 82. And this is that triangle, see that kick right there?
This is the property we're talking about?
Yes, the property, the triangle you're talking about is right here. And that kick right there is Old Mayhew Road. So the quarter section north of that is what your property came out of. This was actually the Claytons, and there's another name on there, but Mosley ended up on it. Oh, the lineage for Mosley was for this up here that he has. That's really how I started putting it together. I went back, I just kept going back. Well, here it is right here.
It was confusing, I'll be the first to say.
And basically the dimensions off of the two Mosley tracks came after Mr. Cook. Thomas D. Cook got it, and he sold it to Joe and Kitty. All right, Kitty's parcel is where this piece came from, okay? But now here's where it really got interesting, was MDOT had already bought part of that from Mr. Robert Boyd. So
long story short, you have a deed that covers this area and this area. I mean, I can go into everything, it'll take an
So
hour.
the county tax maps are wrong, is what you're saying?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Well, yes, sir. It omits that one parcel, but I have seen that a lot like all over the state, because mapping companies, they do the best they can, but a lot of times they'll find the most recent deed, and that's where it ends. And to put this together, gosh, took me 4.5 hours.
Do we have enough information to be able to flag what we're talking about out there on the dirt?
Yes, sir, I'm going to do that. I'm going to set.
Because he needs to, from his perspective, and I know where his mind is, he just wants to know what's his.
Yeah, and I'm going to do that. I'm waiting on the 811 marking along the highway there, because there's a ton of utilities.
Is it okay for them to go out there?
Yeah, that's what
Just
Now, I did find a 1-inch pin on y'all's northwest corner that was a really old pin, and coming south, I actually found another 1-inch pin, but it had been hit by, something, yeah, whatever. And your deed from MDOT, this is the second phase of Highway 82. That's the triangle right there, okay? And that was the kick out. And that's the reason I got this for you, is because the way y'all's legal description reads, you know how an MDOT deed does, it goes from station to station. That's why on this plat I've got this station and this station, because they started here and they said the west extent of a county road. Now, was that the right of way or was that the edge of the road? It hit right at the edge of the road, so I'm saying that's probably was the intent,
in other words, they backed it all the way back up to the intersection there, is what you're saying? Okay.
Yes.
All right.
And what they did, they went southwest, plus or minus to another station, and then they went northeast, plus or minus to the west side of a county road.
You understand this?
And
Pretty much.
and I can, it's not rocket science. What it is, basically, you take the intent of the parties on the deed, okay, and you take the dimensions and you best fit it to what's out there. You can't hold absolute measurements over the intentions or what's been out there. But what we did was we surveyed 182 all the way back to the right-of-way markers at William Wells, and that's the first ones we could find, and we worked backwards. And then I pulled all of the parent parcel of Mr. Granville's property and then y'all's property and compared them. There's gaps and overlaps, they just are. That's just the nature of the beast. And so what you do is then you start taking the mathematics, you put it on the ground, and you try to figure out what the intentions of everybody have been, out there. This deed y'all have for this piece up here, it overlaps itself 35 feet. Other things like that. So what you do is you go out there and you start finding monuments, and you take a metal detector and you really dig into this stuff. And once you start in that, it can start telling you a story of what the intentions were, because that's really what you're trying to do, is make sure that everybody stays whole. I don't want to take an inch of his and give to y'all. I don't want to take an inch of y'all's and give to him. So what you do is you try to see what I won't say the most equitable, but what everybody, thought it was. And the biggest confusion came because of when Mayhew Road shifted south to the alignment on 82 currently, that's what caused
What was the shift in feet?
I can
approximate. I'm not asking for perfection.
probably 180 feet.
Okay.
What they did right here, they took this bend out right here,
Right.
and this is the new alignment.
Gotcha.
Okay, so what MDOT had this as a drainage easement. Okay, this triangle is a drainage easement, and then I guess when they redid this house, did the highway the second time, they it was called access property, and so they deeded it back to the county. And the date's on there, and it references the Clayton's deed, which is in like 193, book 193. And if you look, that's who's on this that's who's on this document right here, or on the plat, the MDOT plat.
Because of the tax deed, because this is a question I'm gonna get later, because of the tax deed, has the adjacent property owners been paying additional property tax on property they did not own? Is that the best way to put that?
I wouldn't think so, because the acreages are coming out the way.
It's supposed to be, what the
Yeah,
original is supposed to be?
Right, right. Now, I did not run his west line, or his whole piece of
Right,
property,
right.
you know what I'm saying? To know
But
what's
on this
there.
part, it should be fine.
It should be, it should be, but well, that would be something that I would have to look into further to make sure of, you know what I'm saying?
We can talk about that later.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make
Yeah.
certain that I'm,
What this does here, this is, when I looked at it and I saw how crazy the, parcel was to the south, you know, it came around, horseshoed around, and had that really narrow piece right here, I knew there was something missing. And that's why I went into the index. And when you get in that sectional index, if you start looking backwards, I mean, that's the way you do it. I started with Mr. Granville, and I worked backwards, and then I got to JFW, University Hills, and then you go to Garrett, Mosley, and you just keep working backwards. And the big thing was, again, that the original deed, when it said everything, that quarter section north of Mayhew Road, that negates anything south of the road at that point, because you can't sell what you don't own.
right.
You know, and so that, and I was really impressed MDOT had this. I almost danced a jig when he sent that to me, because when you start putting this stuff back in, you want to be fair to everybody, and it's the old historic stuff that really, these maps like this really help you out.
So, it is supposed to be 3.9 acres right there?
Yes, sir, that's what yeah, is that what, yeah.
So even if this is excluded, that's still supposed to be 3.9
Right.
acres. That's what I'm saying. So,
Yes.
so
It's the same number.
only way
regardless.
you would determine if it wasn't, you had to get a survey, right?
Well, yes, sir. And I mean, I actually have this line ran. I can give y'all a pretty good estimate of, I had to run this entire section line, and I can tell you, I can give you a pretty good estimate. I mean, I can give that to you this afternoon, you know. The only thing is, it's not I can't stand it, because I haven't ran exactly.
You haven't done the detail on it.
Right,
I got you.
right. But that's the big thing is, when you start looking at this stuff, and I mean, in comparing it with the lineage, it started making sense. This triangle fits this triangle. See, this is the set of plans where MDOT deeded it to y'all, okay, right before they deeded it to y'all. This triangle right here is that triangle right there, okay? And what they deeded y'all was, in fact, if you notice, Cannon Road's not even on this set of documents, on this map, because it was, I'm sure it was used, but it wasn't, I don't think it was on the county roll or something.
This was done when?
1935, I think that's.
Oh, no, it wasn't even a driveway.
Yeah.
See, it wasn't even a driveway.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying,
That's a little bit before your time, ain't it?
Well, the original deeds, that we used to figure this out and work backwards, yes, sir, we went all the way back to like 1910
okay.
and came back.
This is from 35?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Wow.
So, Mr. Boss, what's your,
All right.
you think, okay,
Yeah.
I'll do that.
We got some other fish to fry out there now.
We, we do apologize for the delay, but we did get it resolved.
So,
Thank you.
and I have a report that's got all this on it, and I don't mind giving that to y'all. Every survey job that's got, I won't say a problem, but has some confusion to it, I make out a survey report where 20 years from now, if somebody comes back to me and asks about it, I can refresh my memory.
Mr. Cook, would it be valuable, Rob, to rewrite the description for the parcel that
I
we
will.
own and to file that
I've already got the
new
legal.
description, and you'll handle all
Yes,
that?
I can get
And that'll get Ms.
Matter of fact,
Dave?
that's absolutely what we need to
And that'll
do.
fix the tax map along?
Yes.
Okay.
That should get us.
And I
ready.
do have the legal description written for that, and I'll send that.
Okay, perfect.
Part. It just, there was so much stuff on the plat that I would rather give that to you in another sheet of paper, another document.
With the board's permission, can I share my, whatever information I get with him as well, so that he has what he needs to kind of keep up with
So
this?
Mr. Barker, yeah.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank y'all so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I make the motion, we accept Mr. Cook's report and satisfy all the responsibilities that come along with his service.
It's motion by Supervisor Trainer, second by Supervisor Little. Any other discussion? All in favor? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Mr. Cook.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. That's great
Yes, sir.
work. I would appreciate it.
Is there anything else we need to give him back?
No, y'all good, y'all can keep
This is
those.
ours.
Yes, yes, and I can make as many of those as you want, and I'm going to send you an electronic copy.
Thank you.
Or anybody that wants the electronic.
You don't have to have one more copy of that, do you? If you hand them all, yeah, I was gonna put it in the originals. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Get a new description. Get a new description.
Next on the agenda, we've got our county engineer, Mr. Pritchard. Good morning, sir. Good morning.
Good morning, all. I'm just gonna offer an update, and I'm gonna jump my own agenda just a little for a second. I've asked Mr. Cook to hang around just a minute. I think you all just seen he's pretty thorough in what he does. Over the last few weeks, I've had, many of you know him, Mr. Gene Alter Harris. He's been in my office a couple of times about several properties that adjoin Ballard Lane. And the issue here is, just to be blunt, nobody knows what Ballard Lane really is in the survey world, what the right of way is, what the length is, etc. So rather than me go out and try to do 5 surveys and establish it, there'd be a little bit of conflict of interest for me to do it directly for Gene Aldridge. I would prefer that the county retain somebody like Mr. Cook to define the right of way of Ballard Lane, and then we can address his issues out there.
I make the motion, we accept Mr. Pritchard's recommendation.
It's been moved by Supervisor Trainer, second by Supervisor Williams. Any discussions?
Yes, sir. Can you, so that I don't get this question later, what would you state what you're actually wanting? I'm trying to make sure she gets
I
here.
would like to define center line, length, and right of way on Ballard Lane. Jimmy, you got that?
Yes.
And he'll have to do essentially what he just described to you. He's gonna have to go back to all old deeds, see when it came to exist, see what they're written to, what the extent is, and then we can correct those deeds surrounding it.
Gotcha.
Right now, we don't know where the right of way actually is. And unfortunately, y'all will have several of those in the county through the years.
Yeah.
Okay?
And, any other discussion? If not, all in favor? Motion passes unanimously.
I'll just take a point of privilege here. For a long time, the county appointed a surveyor, the county surveyor.
No, that was you after Mr. Goodman. No, it's Mr. Gray right now.
Greg,
I thought so.
Mr. Tom Gray.
Yeah, Tom.
Yeah.
You see, I didn't hear him in the last appointed list. I'm just saying, y'all used to
Wasn't in
keep
that
somebody
He
kind
wasn't in
of
there, but I thought he was always.
I remember it from a while back.
Been on
Yeah.
there
The last couple of years.
Well, we need to review, I'm glad you brought that up, man.
Well, you got a pretty good candidate sitting in the back of the room. I'm just saying it would be easier than having somebody come in and.
Would it bump
request
us into a
and do- Y'all
conflict?
had something to
Would
do.
it possibly bump us into a conflict if we needed an outside, try to
No.
not create a problem?
I don't think so. I'm just saying it may be logistically, it may be easier for y'all if you got somebody sitting ready.
Makes it easier for me, I can tell you that right now.
Okay? All right.
I don't think so.
I just brought it up. All right, I'll give you a quick update on some of this other stuff. If you have questions, let me know. I don't have anything that should really take a lot of time. Sturgis West Point Bridge, we're driving piling out there now. Those piling approved, that's under construction. The Crawford Bridge contracts have been approved, and we're giving NL Carson notice to proceed for the 20th of February, and that's just because the utility companies are moving their stuff out there now. We'll get that out of them. The Moore High Robinson Road plans have been through the first review at state aid. Supervisor Williams and the trainer, I'll be riding that with them probably by the end of the week to review those plans and make any adjustments. So I hope to be at that soon. Morgantown Bridge, near and dear to my supervisor.
I've been waiting to see when they're gonna start.
We've approved rebar submittals. The beams are being cast down on the coast, the 100-foot concrete beams. Phillips has actually been out a couple of times, but the water has been up, and they're waiting on it to go down a little bit, because if they demo it, it falls in the river and then they can't fish it out. But I talked to Blake Hill this morning, he said, assure you, he's literally sitting on go, ready to start.
Well, good. Hopefully this week they can, because the sun's shiny and hot this week.
You have an LSBP job on Dry Creek in the Sturgis area. We've done preliminary plans, we've met with state aid just to be as candid as can be. What's required out there is far more than I think we should do. And I'm asking to kind of put that on hold right now. And the road crews are repairing the bridge in place, we get it back under contract, but I'm asking to kind of hold time out on the LSBP project for Dry Creek.
Well, I wanna know how long the repair is gonna hold, and if the repair out there is gonna be sufficient to where the state will approve it and it is safe, and that they'll let us, reopen it and everything
When the
out
road
there.
crew finishes, my team will reassess the bridge. State aid will assign a new posted rating if necessary and open it back to traffic. So when they finish it, and quite honestly, I've told y'all this before, what we've gotten back from the inspection teams is the work our road crew does is better than they get from most contractors. So when they repair that bridge, it should be good for a long time. So we'll divert those LSBP monies to another job. Not to get too deep in the woods, but that's a bridge that falls off in a real long flat bottom that goes underwater for several miles, and the engineering on it says you've got to pass that much water through the bridge, and it just creates a monster structure. And I'm working with Harry Lee on how we can get around some of that.
Yeah, as long as we can get it up and going and safe and good, I'm good with that, but I gotta have that bridge up, and those people are
crews have been out there, but
landlocked out there.
Two high water events have really washed their work down the creek.
I know, hey, but I'm just gonna tell you, rain or shine, they gotta have a road to get out from down there, one direction or another, cause they don't have a way right now. When you got 2 or 3 bridges out in the same area, that is a horrible deal.
The contracts on Williams Road and Douglastown Road, those contractors are ready to start. I spoke to Supervisor Williams. You're okay with them starting base repairs with weather, and we're starting to get some good weather. Supervisor Howard, I'm assuming you're okay on Douglastown if they want to start some base repair and work out there when weather lets them?
Yeah, if they could start some base repair, but I've got to get with our road department. We had some cross drains that needed replacing on that road, and they were supposed to have that scheduled.
We wouldn't start paving till a later date, but we'll coordinate that.
Okay. Sounds good.
Sherman Road, we're asking for a little design exception. The slurry seal on County Lake Road, that contract will be moving in soon. We've got those contracts approved.
We are doing some base repairs.
Yeah, I got some base work to do out there too, a little bit. Okay. Yes, sir, and some leveling. I think you have given me an order, and need to make sure on advertising the repair for Sun Creek Bridge. That's it. Okay? You had asked that we start looking at these smaller structures in the county, the small span bridges and boxes and pipes. We have rode 3 districts so far. We've done District 2, District 4, and District 5. And we've got those on a map now, and we're working on the remaining 2. But just to give you an idea of what we're looking at, like in District 4, got 1 small span bridge in there, a couple of boxes, but it's got 54 culverts. you know, to look at. Most of them are gonna be culverts, rusted out pipe, and we're not talking about the little small ones, we're talking about the 30, 36, 48 hard scale pipes.
When you say culverts, are you talking about actual cross drains?
Actual
That-
cross drain
okay.
culverts that we've spotted on the road, we've put on the map, and I'll come back to you when we finish these other two districts and say, Supervisor Williams, you got this many that need to be looked at. And Supervisor Little, you got this many that need to be looked at, and y'all can tell me yea or nay, and we'll get them on a schedule and a frequency to go check. Boxes, so you got some smaller boxes out there, you got some pipes, and you got some small bridges.
I like the idea that you say you're gonna put it on a schedule.
Yeah,
Put it on a schedule, and then make sure we got all the material in place so we wouldn't delay the construction project and have the bridge delayed from being put back together.
correct.
Yeah,
Or the culverts.
yeah,
or the
cross
pipes.
drains, cross
I know we're
drains,
looking at
gutters or whatever.
some of supervisors, trainers, District 2 stuff the other day, and this is more in the south part of the county, but I'm up on some corrugated metal pipes that you just wonder how they're still there, you know?
Yeah,
So
they look good on top, but they're decayed on the bottom.
we delivered District 2 estimates to Supervisor Trainer. Itemized, I think it was 13 roads, something like that. We've also sent a few legislative estimates by way of Rob and Bart and the legislature. I think those included Maven Bell, Self Creek, and New Light, that we've sent us updated estimates on those. And that's about all I've got, other than I have one request for replacing the water line on Lisa Lane. We have talked to the road manager about this. We're gonna allow them to open cut, they'll backfill it with stone prior to him working on Lisa Lane out there.
Before we move on, you said you've inspected 2, 4, and 5 bridges and cross drains.
Well, we've counted them, we've looked at them and counted them and got them on the map.
Okay. When are you planning on doing the other 2 districts?
They're working on them now.
Okay.
It's just a lot of miles to ride.
Okay, and you said counted them, but are we planning on following up with inspections?
What I would come back to you was for each difference with a list, like in 5 right now, we know we got 2 small spans, 18 boxes, 51 culverts. And I would offer y'all some type of fee arrangement for that and a frequency, and you can give us a go ahead to look at it, or not. Okay? Right now, I'm just trying to get them on the map and see how many of them it is.
Yeah, but the question has been in the past, of how do we fund them, and to what budget item, line item, that those funds, and you don't have any, that's not your area, that's more like, administration.
Yeah.
But that's something for us to work on in terms of how we fund them.
Absolutely, and there's a couple of things. Mr. Carpenter would like an inventory of what's out there and what condition is. This will help get that. Out of these, say, the 51 pipes in District 5, I can't tell you as I sit here right now how many of them are good and how many of them are bad. I just know I got 51 of them out there to look at. Okay? And we'll come back. So that brings me back to Lisa Lane. This is just a permit for Longview Water Association to cut the road and install.
That's a gravel road or paved road
It's
for
a-
open cut.
This will be an open cut.
Open
It's
cut.
a DBST road, but the road manager is planning to overlay. And we're trying to get this done before he does his work, similar to your culvert work in there. Okay?
Make a motion, we approve the request.
Motion by Supervisor Trainer, second by Supervisor Little. Any other discussion? All in favor? Motion passes unanimously.
I will be at the county engineers meeting in Flowood Wednesday. Anybody needs me, I'll be there.
Anything else for, our engineer?
Would it be okay for me to have a conversation with him in terms of talking about, rural water and a game plan? Because I hate to say this, at some point, this board is gonna get drawn into that at some point.
Rural water,
We're
rural
already
sewer.
in it. We're already in it.
You're knee deep, we're already knee
Yeah,
deep in
yeah.
it. But is it okay for me to start trying to figure out a plan for us to move forward on some of this?
Yeah, absolutely.
I just wanna make sure.
Holding up a lot of development that is, could be done. But then too, there's not enough traction going into rural rural water development.
It takes money.
It takes money, but no one is trying to get it. We try to, the municipality, we try to fund water project in the municipality or in the city area, but we're not doing it. We're not doing what we need to be doing out in the county for rural water system.
And I'm very concerned about the sewer dynamic as to how we're going to approach that,
Well,
but we'll
and
figure it
just
out.
to echo what Supervisor Williams said, because we're on the consultant side and we know some of these things, there's a lot of development out there sitting, waiting on.
Yes, and waiting.
They're just looking for a green light to come up. And it's not all commercial, it's not all retail, some of it's industrial, it's just.
So do we need a motion to put a hold on the LSBP funds for dry cleaning?
I think probably so.
Need a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Supervisor Trainer, second by Supervisor Little. Any other discussion? All in favor? Motion passes unanimously.
Mr. Clerk, can we have Wayne get a copy
Sure.
of that whenever? if you
PDF,
email it?
okay?
That'd be fine.
Yeah, we'll just scan it and send it
Yeah,
back
just
to
get,
you.
just let him put it with the board order.
Mr. Pritchard, I also need to have a conversation with you about subdivision permitting.
Right?
Will you be available today or tomorrow? I've
This
got a
afternoon-
request and
this
I don't quite
afternoon
know
and
how
tomorrow.
all of that works, and I just really need some,
Yeah, you want me to come to you?
if you don't mind, cause I got it there in my office.
Yeah. Let's do that.
All right.
Probably in the morning will be better.
Perfect, thank you.
Yeah, what do you need? Did you, develop plans for, and I believe in the past, for Artesia Road?
We have done
Plans.
estimates for Artesia Road going from Octot all the way to the county line.
Right,
Right.
okay.
And I can recover that. I don't remember the year and date on that estimate. It's maybe a couple of years old, but if you need that updated, we'll be glad to.
Yeah. With the board permission, I'd like to get that project updated.
What was that?
Artesia Road, estimate, updated.
Second motion.
It's been moved by Supervisor Williams, second by Supervisor Trainer. Any other discussion to update Artesia Road project? If not, all in favor?
Yeah, okay.
Motion passes unanimously.
Ben, you still with us?
I am. My only question on that, if they're just a couple of years old, are those estimates still valid?
What we're finding out recently, Ben, is for the first time in a long time, some of our costs have gone down. So what we're seeing is even though we've got more leveling, more base repair, the costs have adjusted back and the estimates are coming back pretty close to what they were. And we'll consider all that when we go through. The reason I ask about you is we had this conversation and it falls in on Artesia too. Part of the issues you're seeing on these roads is strictly moisture demand from trees adjacent to the road. Pulling that roadway down, especially in the slopes, that's where you're getting this half moon failure in the lane right there. Ben and I talked about this a little bit. It may be a situation where on a lot of these, before we do improvements, it would be preferred to go in and get a temporary construction easement, get those trees out within that 100, 200 foot section. May need to replace the fences, but if you're thinking as y'all always have about long-term repair, that's what needs to happen.
I understand that. Once you cut a tree, you still got 7 years to draw moisture off the road. I've talked to a couple, soil experts and different people, so at the end of the day, they're separating to a point when you're running 30, 40, 50 miles an hour, almost jerk the steering wheel out of your hand. And I encourage all of y'all to ride New Light, and I'm getting more complaints every day. And as you all know, I stand in there and start separating. We're starting to get 2 to 3 inch gaps, and it's a 6 to 8 inch drop within those half moons. So whatever we've got to do, Christian's gotten some estimates to the state rep and senator. So we need to look at that. That's New Light's a highly traveled road, and it's getting worse. It's not getting better. So I'm okay with whatever it takes.
Well, and again, the response is not always instant, but if we don't deal with those, it's just a Band-Aid. They're coming back. It may be the next drought season, it may be following the next wet season, but they're coming back.
We've got those issues all over the county. I know I've got several in my district that same thing, Supervisor Carver will pull you off the road. I think, possibly what could help also is make sure our long arms and our assistant road manager, when these trees are small saplings starting to grow up, you know, you could take that long arm and reach out there and bush hog them, knock them down, and then 5-6 years later, you don't have a tree that now you've got to take a chainsaw or something and take. So I think if we can get proactive and start reaching out while these trees are little small saplings and cutting them back, that'll help tremendously.
A lot of them are gonna be on fence lines. There's gonna be a question whether they're your tree or their trees, but a temporary construction easement and a permission to clear them would be a big help.
Absolutely.
The zone of influence on those big mature trees is about 30 feet beyond the grip line of that tree. So you know, that's the reason you're getting all that impact up in the lane of the road right there. Okay, any more questions for me?
Yeah, I have, Robinson Road, State Aid Road, I believe, State Aid Road. And it's believed to be one of the oldest roads in Arkansas County, and maybe one of the oldest roads in the state of Mississippi.
Okay.
So I'd really like to see us do some work on at least moving the trees back on that road and doing some ditch work and doing some ditch work to it. It is state aid. It is a state aid road. And I've already talked to the road department about the possibility of doing some grubbing work on Robinson Road. So if you can help us out with that in any kind of way with some of the plans, we'd appreciate it.
Sure. Anything else?
Motion. So I motion that we go ahead and move forward with doing some work on the grubbing of Robinson Road, since their state aid and not be used for state aid funds or county funds, but to move forward with doing some of the grubbing on Robinson Road.
So you are proposing to use your county funds on the grubbing of Robinson Road?
Yeah, grubbing is normally not county funds unless we get ready to pay it. It's not really District 5 funds until we get ready to pay.
So I'm not sure what you're proposing. I guess with that train of thought, we can just go ahead and get all the roads grubbed in the county until we get ready to pay them. Am I following you?
Well, if you see some that need to be grubbed,
yeah, it's bunches of them out here that need to be grubbed.
So I'm asking that Robinson Road be grubbed.
Okay, well, let me go ahead and throw about 3 of them in there while we're grubbing roads.
Yeah, that's what we're doing now.
Yeah.
That's
Now,
what
do we
we're
do
doing.
that with Clyde, or we do this with our road
This is normally
department?
road department grubbing. That does the
Since
grubbing.
this is state aid though, Robinson is a state aid road, so I'll have
Does the
that
state
discussion.
aid, does state aid pay,
It's
I'm
gravel.
asking because I don't know, does state aid pay for the grubbing and stuff?
No, they don't.
Not without establishing a project.
Yeah.
Now, what
State aid won't pay for that.
what I could offer in this would be just if Keith or Vic get out there and they got some questions about ditching and drainage and how far to go and what to do, we'll be happy to help them with that. But
since
that's
it's-
generally gonna be a road manager activity.
Right. Since it's a state aid road, I think we need that assistance from, Mr. Clyde to, provide assistance if needed.
I'm still not clear at the motion that's being made right now.
I guess my question would be, it's an open-ended motion, what is the monetary value or not to exceed amount? I can't be comfortable, voting for an open-ended motion. It's a lot of work and time and money, but I mean, I won't support it if it wasn't not to exceed amount.
Do we need to get the road department to get us an estimate, get you an estimate on that?
Let me iterate that. Robinson Road grubbing project is on my state aid, on my plan, 4-year road plan. And, I'd be willing to further have discussion with that, come back to the board and come back to the board with some additional ideas in terms of, Mr. President, how we can get that done. But let's keep in mind that Robinson has been forgotten. It's a road that has been forgotten, but it's a road too that we could see a lot of development taking place there if we go ahead on and do some work to make it better. So I will come back to the board with presenting some ideas in terms of how we can get it done, how we can get it financed, and I'm glad to know that you're here to know that that is a state aid road and that we would like to have your involvement.
Well,
Your involvement
in the
that sense
meantime,
of-
I'll ride that road and I'll offer some ideas about what we
Right,
might do.
well, thank you very much
We'll
for
get it.
your
What,
assistance.
I guess, we're authorizing you to ride the road at your normal fee that you'll develop.
I'm gonna, as many of them been working on, I'm gonna ride through it anyway. I'll see it.
Okay, thank you for your
All right,
assistance.
so at this point, we're gonna table this motion until further information is gathered.
And
Anything else for our county engineer?
No, again, I'll be in Flowood on Wednesday if anybody needs further on. Okay, you're gonna call you?
Yeah, if you could.
Okay.
So we can kind of stay, I need to fill you in on what I'm up to.
It's probably going both ways.
And you're gonna let me know as soon as they decide to start demolition down there.
Yeah, I talked to Blake this morning, they're watching water, but literally if they tear something out right now, they can't fish it out of the river, so they're waiting.
I just wanna know, so I can do that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Pritchett.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we've got our fire coordinator, Patrick Warren. Yeah, motion to acknowledge the county engineer's report, motion by Supervisor Trainer, second by Supervisor Little. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Motion passes unanimously. Morning, Mr. Warren.
Good morning. I got two items on the agenda today. You should have pictures in your packet. We'll do the Edison station first. If you can tell, this is what the picture looks like. I just got a request to get a culvert put in at the Edison station. As y'all previously discussed it, those old metal culverts are rotted out and you see the bottom of it. And this culvert is actually in the middle of the driveway where people have run into it constantly. We're gonna remove that light pole, put a new culvert in there, and we'll have a solid roadway going out so that way we won't have this issue anymore.
I motion that we, grant the request, second by Supervisor Little. Any other discussion?
Address for that?
Yes, sir.
Sorry.
I'll get it to you. I don't know off the top of my head.
You gonna do both of them?
This is coming out of 250, right, Matt?
Yes, just, well, that's.
Well, it'll come out.
Yeah.
County.
This is actually can come out of our road budget.
Yeah, our road budget.
Can you add both of them together, do one at Agent and Billy?
We gotta do.
Or do separate?
Yeah.
And I'll just do the one at Bel Air also.
Oh, let me carry this motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. It was motion by, did we get the motion on the second? Motion by Howard and second by Little.
You gonna get the address information you need for that?
I will, I'm sorry, I should have put those on there, but I'll get that to you. I just don't know them off the top of my head. The second one is the Bel Air station. Same thing, if you take a look at the culvert, the bottom part is rotted out, just like the other one. We have a 3,000 gallon, tanker truck driving over this. It's probably not the best thing to do. I'd also like to replace this culvert and probably get two more added in going up there. If you take a look at this picture right here, the culvert's right here. I'd like to get two more culverts in right here, cause this is a
Extension is what.
yes, sir, cause this is a voting precinct, and it will free up a lot of space for, the workers to park and for
Traffic,
access
yeah.
in and out.
Motion by Supervisor Little, second by Supervisor Trainer. Any other discussion? All in favor? Motion passes unanimously.
Thank y'all very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, sir.
Has Ricky been back with you on your deeds?
Just a second, and I got the other deed signed, I gotta get it recorded.
Okay, we've
Let's go.
got Miss Barbara Cuban. Good morning.
Make a motion that we approve the assessment change.
Motion by Supervisor Trainer, second by Supervisor Little. Any discussion? Supervisor Williams?
Well, that's both increase and decrease, real property. That's both
We
of
need to
them.
do two separate
Yeah,
orders.
two separate
That'd be
ones,
on
so
the
first one will be
most
for
for
the
approval
decrease.
for the decrease. You got
Motion by
increase.
Supervisor Trainer, second by Supervisor Little for the decrease. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Now for the motion for the increase.
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Supervisor Williams, second by Supervisor Trainer. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Ms. Cubar. Emergency Management, Ms. Kristen.
Miss Kristen
Yeah.
Campanella called me Friday. She has had to make an emergency trip to Tennessee for her daughter. She asked if I would present for her. One of the items that she's provided to the board for consideration is the Hazardous Materials Emergency Preparedness Grant Program. She assured me that this is a repeat grant. She's asking for your permission to put in the application. I provided a little bit of detail. This is basically what I know about it. If she were here, she'd be able to answer questions, but I'm afraid I cannot.
That's that second. Second.
It's been moved by Supervisor Trainer, second by Supervisor Williams. Any other discussion? All in favor? Motion passes unanimously. And we can get her to give us a complete update.
Yes, sir.
When she
We will have to come back before the board if we get approved in order to accept it. So at that time, you know, if it turns out that's not something we want to pursue, then we have another shot at this.
Okay.
The other item on her report, if you don't mind, we'll hold it to my report. It's a salary increase for her E911. I wanted to give you an opportunity to ask her any questions at this time, but since she's not here, then we'll wait till my report.
Sounds good.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
She's gonna come later. She's gonna come later.
I'll make sure she's at the second meeting, but I'm still gonna present those salary increases with my report. Yes, sir.
Next on the agenda, we've got Chief Deputy Maurice Johnson. Morning, sir.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Just got a couple of things. Just requesting board approval to declare 2016 Ford Explorer surplus so we could sell it. It has a mechanical problem. It was being used as a backup vehicle. Once we tried to use it, we realized it's gonna cost more to repair than the vehicle is worth to sell.
Motion by Supervisor Little, second by Supervisor Williams to declare this 2016 vehicle surplus. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion passes unanimously.
And also I'm requesting that the proceeds from that could go into a line item where we might be able to go forward and purchase another vehicle in the future.
Okay.
A motion for approval with, on motion for approval with communication with, our comptroller.
Once we receive those funds, you can come to me to do a budget amendment to put that money back in. So we don't need a board order. The board order will be the budget amendment. So we don't need to do that right now. Just to sell it. Once we receive the funds, then they have to.
You guys will come and do a budget.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So that's my motion for approval.
All right,
Second.
motion by Super.
We don't need a board.
We don't need
order.
that, if I'm hearing correctly.
Just to have
Just
that
sell
survey.
it.
We've already voted on
You
the
have
survey.
the unit number?
Done.
Yes.
The inventory?
Yes,
Yes, it's
all that is included in
170.
Okay.
Thank you.
And once it sells, then you come back and receive a board order for a
No,
line.
she just goes to his heart.
Yeah.
Okay.
It will,
She'll do a budget amendment.
we'll present that budget.
Okay, okay, and we'll approve the budget. Okay, sounds good. All right.
Got that?
Clear as mud.
Then I will.
Yeah.
Also, if you all are aware that the cameras that we requested in the budget are going up now, just want to have acknowledgement that we're having reoccurring charges with Fastnet, who's providing us with the internet. There's no monthly contract. The money, it was requested in the budget to make sure that we had enough to cover the billing every month, but there's no contract.
And this is just the first of a number
Right.
four.
Yeah.
So the way this is working is we had to enter into an agreement with Ford County to build the boxes, put them on the poles, and we had to enter into an agreement with Fastnet in order to get the internet access to these cameras. We will have more along the lines of this 365 project and additional things developed, but just want to kind of keep y'all in the loop as to how this thing's gonna work. And so this will be charged to the sheriff's budget every month, both the electric bill and the internet bill to support these cameras.
This is part of what we already gave approval for on everything. This is
All
just
the
an
365 project, yes ma'am, we're just trying to keep y'all up to date that this thing's moving. And, we're fixing to start spending money on a regular basis in support of this effort.
All right, anything else, Chief?
That is it.
All right, thank you so much. Motion to, accept, motion by Supervisor Trainer, second by Supervisor Little.
We got 4 up now. We have 4 now. Soon to be 10 here in
What's the motion?
nothing on the second one, just.
To acknowledge.
To acknowledge.
All in favor? Motion passes unanimously. Okay, we're now down to our road manager, Mr. Thompson.
Morning, good morning.
Good morning.
Road business is kind of under the weather right now, so stepping in.
All right.
Thank y'all. Everybody has a copy of the road manager report. And so, if there are any questions that's in depth that I can't answer, he would have to answer them for me.
Motion we accept the road manager report.
Motion by Supervisor Trainer, second by Supervisor Williams. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Just got a few things we asking for approval on. One is for some vehicles that's in surplus. We have a couple of international trucks and a couple of F-450 trucks. All right, I have the equipment number and VIN number.
Do you have a list of them?
I didn't, he didn't put it in your, put it in your packet. I'm gonna give you, I can give you the VIN number and equipment number, that's needed, but he will put this in writing as far as the vehicle themselves. It's 2 international trucks that we're no longer using, and 2 F-450 trucks that we no longer using.
We'll need those VIN numbers.
I have the VIN numbers, but I could give them to him now, and then
okay,
he put it in
okay,
writing.
then we
later.
can make, we need those to approve.
Right. Okay, one of the international trucks is 150, 161.
Okay.
150, 161.
161.
Get all the information.
Let's just table this one until you bring all the information that we need. Then we can move forward with those.
Okay. And we move forward. Copies of this.
I need a second.
Second.
Okay, this is
All in favor? Motion passes. This is to table, right? Okay.
And what I'm gonna need.
Wait, tabling this on
Yeah.
President, seconded by Orlando, and all in favor.
Okay, this is, that motion was
To table the motion for surplus.
Okay.
I was just undoing where we started.
Okay.
Keith, when you bring this back, I'm gonna need, obviously, the VIN number, the asset number, possibly a picture of it, how many miles on it, some justification as to why you want to surplus it. so that I can ask this board to make an informed decision.
No problem. I'll give you some. Okay, next item. This is a gate. This is a gate that we damaged when we cut a tree down, and so we asking for approval to replace this gate. This is on Hickory Grove Road.
Second.
Motion by Supervisor Williams, second by Supervisor Trainer to replace damaged gate. Any discussion? All in,
Where was the tree cut down from?
Off Hickory Grove Road. It was on the opposite side of the road.
Oh, and it fell all that way?
Well, it's not a narrow road, it's not a wide road anyway. It was a pretty big tree.
I didn't say that, I set it up.
We made the determination that it was our fault, therefore we could fix said gate.
We cut the tree. We cut the tree.
Okay.
any other discussion? All in favor? Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, our next item, this is the parking lot, in Macon. I'm sorry.
We got it.
I think we have that.
So that's in the pack, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the proposal to do the work. And do y'all also have the covered pipes that's got to go in the parking lot as well?
Okay, we have that.
Okay.
We don't have that.
And this is the work that's being funded by, the monies that, Representative Robinson and Senator Williams.
Yeah, they've got all this.
I got this, yeah, okay.
So what,
This is,
Oh, yeah, this is the same.
just for clarity,
yeah, that's, yeah.
Yeah.
Is this what we've already approved to do the work on? Yes. So this has already been approved?
Yeah.
We
Yes,
did a
ma'am.
board order months ago.
this is that special
This is a-
appropriation
that's
that
the
came in from the
Well-
legislature, and,
What? We have to approve?
No, the work has to be
No, we
approved,
have-
but the
yeah, we
quotes
have to
need to
approve
be
the
approved.
contract.
We have to approve the
Yeah,
quotes,
The
that's
actual
what we're
work
doing.
and actual quote.
Right, this is,
Then we have to
right, they get
approve
approved,
that.
so it's
Yeah.
correct.
We got two quotes on that.
You have a quote to replace the concrete once the work is done, and the other quote is for the actual pipe that has to go under the ground.
So that's two different.
For us to put in the ground.
We need a motion.
But they're both for the Maven project.
We need a motion for the concrete, we wanna do them separate? Okay, we need a motion for the concrete that has to be poured for this project.
With what company? Which
We
one?
have two bids, your Friendly Craftsman
Friendly Craftsman.
and Blake's
Yeah.
Construction. Your Friendly Craftsman has the cheapest bid.
Okay.
He already does work for us as well.
For your friendly craftsman.
Yes.
Okay.
All in favor?
All right, we'll get a motion.
Your motion by Supervisor Trainer and second by Supervisor Williams.
Okay.
That's the 9,900. 9,900.
Yes.
Oh, I've got to where I can't see.
This is sort of blurry.
909.
Was it 9 in there?
9,900.
Thank you. Can't see.
Blake Construction is $10,100.
Very close. Friendly Craftsman, you know how to do that.
And for the covers, that's GNO, I'm sorry, and ADS. Two quotes for that.
Motion for
That's what-
approval on, G&O Supply Company.
We're gonna wanna go with GNO, yes.
G&O
They're the
is
cheapest.
cheapest one.
And do we
Okay.
have anywhere more local besides these two places that do these pipes and stuff?
Well, we thought we did at one time. They only, they gave us one quote, one bid on some covers, and we haven't been able to get in touch with them again, so I don't know if they went out of business.
Oh,
you
I mean,
know.
not for this project.
Oh, I'm just saying, yeah, this,
Yeah.
we bought covers from them, and, we only bought one time, and I don't know if they gone out of business or what, but we haven't been able to get back with them.
Okay, got a motion by Supervisor Williams, second by Supervisor Little, that, we go with GNO Supply for the pipe.
That's $6,390. $6,390.
in the amount of $6,390. Any other discussion? All in favor? Motion passes unanimously. This is just for the purchase of the pipes. The pipes will be actually installed by the county.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Oh, the purchaser, okay.
Purchase.
And the only other thing is to, get approval.
Go ahead.
Okay. To get approval for, we have a lot of scrap metal cupboards, rims, so to get approval to, at all the shops, central and the satellite shops, to sell those.
For approval. Motion by Supervisor Williams, second by Supervisor Trainer. Any discussion?
How do we know, like, when they just gonna pick up all the scrap and take it?
Yeah, we'll take it to West Point. We normally, yeah.
We'll take
Well,
that
either West
non-truck.
Point or Columbus, once we figure out who's gonna pay the most for the.
We'll get quotes from
Yeah.
both of those as to what they'll pay, and then whichever one gives us the most money, if we will.
I guess we need to declare surplus, and then, yeah.
That's correct,
Need a
yes.
motion to declare, used metal cupboards and rims as surplus.
Motion for approval.
Motion by Supervisor Williams, second by Supervisor Little. All in favor? Motion passes unanimously. Now, do we need a further motion to?
I think you need a motion to sell said surplus
Okay.
after it's determined.
Okay. Need, motion by Supervisor Little, second by Supervisor Trainer to, authorize sale of said surplus after it has been determined the best quote.
And these are just covers that we take up, that's no longer any good, like some of the ones you talk about on your road,
Yeah, they-
busted out,
You can't do anything with it.
All in favor? Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, do we have any couple requests here?
Yeah.
Board President,
Yes, sir.
I've got, just while the weather's good, Chief, if y'all can get that Longview Extension, bridge needs to be repainted, if y'all can, this would be an excellent week to do it. I still get calls about it from the graffiti on the side of it.
Okay, he's making a note of that.
We need a culvert on, Silver Ridge Road. And, it is for, Josh Cook. And they are getting their actual physical address from the PDD, but it is across from 1514 Silver Ridge Road. And they're gonna mark it.
So if they're getting the address, so it's gonna be a new development, or new
And
development?
he needs a culvert for access to his property.
Motion by Supervisor Littles for access to property for cover, second by Supervisor Williams. Any other discussion? All in favor? Motion passes
You said the cost on
unanimously.
what is that?
Hey, Board President,
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna have to excuse myself, and, I will check Mr. Carpenter whenever I come back, just give me a few minutes.
And
Okay,
you can call
sounds good. Thank you much.
769-1291.
They have already marked it,
Oh, yeah, they're supposed to mark it, and I sent that to Victor and Leslie. So he's been sick, so he probably didn't get it, but you should have an email with everybody's, info at the shop.
What is he developing a subdivision, did you say?
No, he's building a mobile home.
We just need to get access to his property.
He eventually will have to incur.
Yeah, site development.
Right now,
Permit.
he's
He's
just
just
needing
clearing
access,
it off,
right?
he hadn't done
Okay.
anything. It's on 16 section and he's just clearing it off.
Alright. Anything else for our road manager, assistant road manager?
Those cracks, feel the crack.
Do we need to make a motion to acknowledge this report?
Motion by Supervisor Little to acknowledge road manager report, second by Supervisor Williams. All in favor? Motion passes unanimously. All right?
All right.
Thank you, Mr. Thompson.
While I'm Ms. Thompson here. There was some question about how would we fund the grubbing of Robinson Road. And that is on my 4-year road plan. So on the motion that we grub Robinson Road with District 5 funds,
It's been motioned by Supervisor Williams that we grub Robertson Road with District 5 funding. Are we still working on scheduling this work?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, so that way he can keep you guys updated on when, we'll be moving on, or moving in your area.
Okay,
Now
sounds good.
that is Robinson
Right.
from Octop to Cedar Lane. I don't know, after Cedar Lane, I stop off in District 2.
You can grab it all the way through the county line.
You guys.
Yeah, grab it all the way through the county line.
I have a motion, I need a second.
Okay,
Amendments, grab it all the way through the county
Yeah,
line.
with friendly amendment on that.
That makes sense. If you even come back and do it, you already out there.
Right,
Let's keep on
already out
going.
there. Let's keep on.
So funding coming, District 5 funding.
So I'll talk to county line.
I'll talk to county line.
And a little history goes on with Robinson Road. Robinson Road is probably the oldest road in the state of Mississippi.
Is it? Well, it should
Yeah.
be with the Robinson.
Well, it was a transportation. Yeah, that's what.
Sorry.
That's
Not Robertson.
Sorry, that's
Rob Bean.
different name.
I guess, when are you all?
But we can change it, we get the funding.
I like this idea.
Let me finish
Johnny B. Lane.
Let me
When is
finish.
the schedule for grubbing?
Once there's weather, and again, get these, couple of these bridges that we've already started.
Okay.
Once the weather
Yeah.
changes, then we'll be able to move forward with a lot of this work.
Okay.
Let
Sounds
me
good.
finish my conversation, if you will, on Robinson. Robinson probably was, where the city of Starksville was located at one time. On Robinson Road. That's where all the trading posts was taking place, and everything, was on Robinson Road. Back in the time that, we had, Indians Native Americans, doing business on Robinson Road. But that was Starksville, and Starksville moved from Robinson Road to, maybe where it is presently now. With that in mind, I'd like for, a motion that we use not District 5 funds, because this is education for the whole, Occidental County, that we get Archive and History to give us some information about the history of Robinson Road, and probably put up a marker there to, denote, its historical past.
So that being said, do you wanna try to secure grant funding to
Well,
try?
let's now get, historical information from, archive and history, probably historical information. I don't want you to take my word. Don't take my word for it.
I guess so. At this point then, we're not grubbing.
Yeah, we're grubbing it, yeah. But this is different here, but we just want.
All right, we've got one motion on the table. Let me make sure. Yeah, that's true.
We're not trying to declare it to be a.
Well,
We just wanna grub it for
At
now.
this point,
Well, then
so where does the funding come from?
Well, the grubbing is, we've already talked about the grubbing is coming from District 5.
Okay, we have a motion on the table doing exactly that.
Yes, we got a motion and a second for that, from
Okay.
Octop to County Lake.
Correct.
County line.
County line.
County line.
County line.
With funding
I'm gonna find out
coming,
if we put it as that.
County line.
funding coming from District 5.
District 5 and District 2.
But District 2 hadn't said nothing yet.
That's Carolina code with the
You know it's gonna have to
So,
be, District 2.
well, we need revenue, but we need revenue up there.
Yeah, that's why we put in revenue now. Because District 2 picks up at, Cedar Lane.
District 5 and District 2.
So funding will be coming out of District 5 and District 5 and District 2's 4-year road plan funding.
From out top to Cedar Lane, District 5, from
County
Cedar,
line.
Cedar Lane to County Line, District 2.
Yes.
And so who's gonna be responsible for us with archives and history?
That will be our.
They're not pulling our
You don't want to deal with that.
We'll revisit it.
All right.
We'll revisit that one.
But it's the same thing, it's just
Okay, because we already been down there, those
That wouldn't be your responsibility.
Motion by Supervisor Williams, second by Supervisor Trainer, that Robinson Road be grubbed all the way through to County Line Road.
to the county line.
To the county line. That encompasses District 2 and District 5 districts.
That's it.
And money's coming from District 5 and District 2's 4-year road plan. Any other discussion? All in favor? Motion passes unanimously.
Good job on
That's all?
All right.
Put a bear on the bag.
Look at the map, please.
Can we just say
They done got this
District
a few-
5 and District 2 funds? Because there may be a district that don't have enough county funds.
Well, that's what I was gonna get to. I guess once you determine whether you got enough funds in your 4-year road plan.
Then we have funds outside of that, so
Get out of
we
here.
just say whatever funds they have.
I wouldn't think so, because I might want some of those other funds.
No, District 2 and District 5, funds, they have bonds, they have bonds.
I know, I'm saying, yeah.
That y'all already have.
So yeah, funding coming from those districts, yeah.
Instead of county funds, just whatever funds.
It's District 5 and District 2 funds.
Funds, instead of the 4-year road. Okay,
I hate to do this, I've got to leave.
Okay,
So you need to tell us what you
understand.
got to tell us.
I've got a couple of motions, or I need to present something real quick.
Okay.
To see what y'all want me to do. Is it okay if I go out of time?
Yeah, you can go and call it back.
No, I'll go over it while I'm here.
Okay.
We have two young people that passed away over the course of the last few years. One is an officer that was killed in the line of duty that was a member of our community. And the young man was killed a few years ago, but he was killed in the line of duty, and I've had a request from the family, and I've also had a request from my supervisor from that area, and I'm gonna try to find a road that we can give a name to this young man. His name is, and I hope I get this right, Liquori T. Tate, Liquori, initial T, last name Tate, T-A-T-E. The way we typically do this from the house side is the person has to have been passed away, which is basically the requirement, and then have been a member of the community that we want to represent us on that particular road and show our respect. I would love to have a motion to have a resolution done from us asking for this from the state, if that meets y'all's approval.
Motion by Supervisor Little, second by Supervisor Trainer. All in favor? Motion passes unanimously.
I have one more. Same situation, a young person taken away from us way too soon. This happens to be someone that's very beloved for someone at this table, and I know this is a tough one all the way around. But I would like one for Lake Little as well. This young lady has in her very short years on this earth, touched an awful lot of people, and I think that she more than meets the requirement for what we usually have in on the house side, but I would like a motion for that as well.
Motion by Supervisor Trainer, second by Supervisor Williams. All in favor? Motion passes double unanimous.
Have they talked much about what roads will be considered?
I've got a couple in here. I need to find out if it's that these are in that category that we're allowed to do. My thought is that you're looking at about half a mile on each one of them. As soon as I know those roads, I will let everyone know what those roads are, and then we can kind of put something together as to how we're going to let the family know, each side of these families know. Mr. Tate has been working, the father has been working on this for a few years, and so I want to make certain that they're given a heads up on what we're doing. I do have some other information that I'll get with you guys on some of our lawsuit type stuff. We really can't do anything at this point anyway, but that's all I have. May I be excused?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Drive carefully, and thank you for the work you all are doing down at the Capitol.
Thank you. I appreciate y'all. Listen, y'all, it's all around the state how much growth we've got. We were talking about some growing pains that we have. To give you a heads up, I've got something in the works trying to help us with some water issues that we have. Some people are, so this board is aware, some of the folks out there probably aren't going to be too happy with this solution, but I don't really have a choice. I mean, either we get people water or we don't, and so I'm just giving you a heads up. I don't want to make y'all think that I'm not keeping y'all in the loop, and if you have more questions, some of the stuff I can't say everything right now, but if you have questions, call me and I'll be happy to fill you in on what's going on. Thank y'all.
Thank you. Right, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank y'all.
Okay, we got our Chancellor Clerk, Ms. Livingston.
Yes, I have a couple of things. The first thing I need the board to approve the certificate of approval from the Department of Revenue for the 24 real and personal property rolls.
Motion by Supervisor Little, second by Supervisor Trainer. All in favor? Motion passes unanimously.
The second is the affidavit of publication that I had to do for the 2022 audit.
Motion by Supervisor Little, second by Supervisor Trainer. All in favor? Motion passes unanimously.
I need a affidavit of publication for the Homestead Department put in the paper for their deadline.
Motion by Supervisor Little, second by Supervisor Trainer. All in favor? Motion passes unanimously. And these are 4-0 votes.
Yeah. The last thing I need, two more. I had to renew my contract for my Toshiba copiers that I have in the office and in the loft. I just need a motion to approve that.
Motion by Supervisor Trainer, second by Supervisor Williams. All in favor? Motion passes unanimously.
And then the last thing that I have is to acknowledge that I did receive the county audit for the year 2022. That was completed, and it's in my office if anybody needs to look at it.
Motion for acknowledgement by Supervisor Williams, second by Supervisor Trainer. All in favor? Motion passes unanimously.
Do you have an electronic version of it?
No.
I don't. Are you send out a disc? Didn't all of you send out like a disc years ago?
Mapping did on the maps, they did, but not the audit. Well, they may have when the
Yeah,
audit department was doing it, but now it's Watkins Warren staff are doing it. So it's in a binder. So if anybody wants to look at it, it's in my office.
I can probably get a
Yeah, I'm sure you can.
Yeah.
But that's all I have.
Okay. Mr. County Administrator, Chief Nichols.
Yes, sir.
Were you needing to talk to the board about anything?
No, sir, but I did want clarification on the Robinson Road thing, because Robinson Road is two roads. Okay, it turns into Moore High at some point, and then Old Robinson Road picks up. So I just wanted clarification on that, because what Mr. Joe is saying is 100% true about the historical factors. And I did share with Mr. Carpenter that there's a book out here called The Historical Sketches of Octavia County. It's written by Judge Carroll. Okay, he started writing this book in like 1850s and finished in 1923. All that information that Mr. Joe is talking about is in that book.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, you're
Sorry,
right.
I don't
You're
understand.
exactly right.
It's actually
this-
3
what-
roads out there, isn't it? It turns into 3 roads, because when I'm traveling, my GPS tells me it's,
It's
you know,
another
like,
Robinson
it's
Road.
like Robinson, Crawford,
right.
Moore High, some,
What-
I mean, and then something else, but it's all the same road.
When you turn off
To me.
of Octok, traditionally we called that Moore High Road when I was growing up. But that's Robinson Road. That's the road that's featured in the book.
Yeah.
Now, that road, when it gets to the gravel road, Old Robinson Road, that's the road that takes you to Lowndes County. You can't go to Lowndes County on Moore High Road because it's going to dead end.
Right.
Then you have to take another road.
Crawford Road.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I can say this. Robinson Moore High Road has been taken care of with state aid funding.
Okay.
So, okay.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so thank you for that, and
Thank you.
it'll be determined by these, so apparently if it's going to the county line, it's the old Robinson Road.
It's the gravel part.
Yeah.
It's really the gravel
Right.
part of Robinson.
Right.
Okay.
And that's the gravel part. And I just wanted to make sure that we acknowledge this is Black History Month. It started February 1st. And just want to make sure we acknowledge that, even though on a national level, they're not acknowledging it, but, you know, we're talking about local government. So I don't see Democrat or Republican on local. What I see is fair.
Thank you for that observation.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Administrator.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So I typed all this stuff up, kind of got it all ready to go Friday morning, and Friday happened. So there's changes. We gonna walk through this. I got a walk on, and then I've got some stuff I need to remove off of some things. We'll talk to each one of them. First thing I'd like to do is introduce you to someone, and this gentleman is left. He made it through the whole meeting. He went and left. He may have had to go see Felicia and get his own
No, he's
board
right
and
there.
stuff done. Oh, hey, thank goodness, I thought you'd abandoned me. I'd like to introduce everyone to Mr. Carl Zitter. Carl has been hired. Today is his first day at work, officially at work. He's been hired as the IT manager for the county. And I've given him some pretty big tasks. We got some things that's got to be studied, and we got to start pulling in the same direction on a few things, him up some of these department heads, and get us all on the same systems. We've got some cybersecurity things he's looking at. He's also been talking with the Golden Triangle Planning and Development District, looking at their GIS systems, and we're gonna have some conversations with the website corporation that developed our website to try and figure out how we can better intake a lot of these requests from the public, whether it be garbage cans, culverts, tree cutting, all the different things, where we can get all that hemmed up, where we can actually stay on top of it and know whether or not it got completed. So with that said, Carl, do you have any introduction to the board that you'd like to add on to that?
Good to see some of you again.
Oh, yeah.
And it's a lot to wrap your head around. There's a lot of moving parts. So it's going to be a lot of learning to do.
Yeah.
Try to catch up.
I was in a meeting with Stephen Foster.
Yeah.
He spoke very, very highly of you, of your intelligence, your capability, your professionalism, and he assured me that we had the right man on the job.
Well, I appreciate that. I hope I can live up to it.
Yes, and I was gonna say, I had a little sneaky person told me that he had already been out there, like you said, at the PDD, because I'd gone out there to talk to him about the GSI, the thing they have where they can ride the roads, because I'm like wanting to get my roads, you know.
Yeah, I'm afraid Mr. Zitta's gonna be the kind of employee that we may have to rein in occasionally, as opposed to pride to get moving.
But I was happy because they were all very impressed that you'd mapped the 7 different states riding the roads with that technology that they have and everything, and they were like, this is gonna be good for the county, you know, with the knowledge that he has for, you know, having mapped 7 different states with that. So I want to say thank you for, you know, jumping out there before you ever started. And
Well, I'm gonna try to wheel the cattle prod on some of these guys. We have a lot of talent. There's a lot of people in the county, in the city, at Mississippi State. There's a lot of talent. I'm just trying to pull everybody together. We're kind of working with technology and making your lives easier. But Toby's actually already got a prototype for you. He's not quite done, but you could sit at the house, or you could display it up here where you've got a dashboard of monies and roads and conditions and culverts and the things, you know, that you were talking about with Clyde. And luckily I worked with Clyde for years when I was in private practice, so we go way back. So hopefully I won't have too many barriers to cross, but there's a lot of moving parts, so I'm excited.
Sounds good. Well, welcome aboard.
Thanks,
And
sir.
he is housed at my office if anybody needs him.
Yes, he's
Right now.
gonna be located in the office, just down, if you go into Sharon's
hallway.
office, hang a right before you get to her break room, he's right there on the left.
Well, you can probably get ready for a lot of traffic in and out of the
That's-
office.
That's okay.
Well, I'm hoping he's gonna be out looking at a bunch of things, and so if you run through there and don't find him, know that he's probably in an IT closet somewhere trying to map through and figure out all this synergetics, voice over IP, and a whole bunch of things that kind of stay hidden in all the infrastructure that supports what we do. So
Yeah,
Sounds
he
good.
kind of looked at me crazy when he saw my big server in the lab, so.
Well,
Good
Carl,
luck.
I'm thrilled to hear. We're blessed.
Yes,
Some
welcome.
good things came together, and I think Carl's going to do great things. Next on the agenda, I was asked, I think it might have been last meeting, about the status of Slaughter and Associates. I told you that I had heard from them prior to Christmas, and they were wanting to schedule 2 public hearings as it relates to gathering information about this comprehensive plan. I put in your packets the notice of public meetings. With your approval, I've already coordinated with the 2 fire stations involved in hosting these meetings. They're good with that. So if y'all are good with it, then we'll schedule these 2 meetings for Tuesday, February the 25th, and Thursday, February the 27th, beginning at 6:30 p.m.
Make a motion, we accept the recommendation.
Motion by Supervisor Trainer, second by Supervisor Little. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
The second item on my report I'd like to table in light of Mr. David Oswalt's passing. I'd like to table this second item on the report to a more timely thing. In recognition of Mr. David and his long service to the county, and this might not be appropriate to take this matter up right now.
Which one is,
Regarding the jury commission.
okay, gotcha,
Motion
okay.
table.
All right.
Motion table until a later date.
Motion by Supervisor Williams, second by Supervisor Little to table until a later date. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Before you go any further, I'd like to make a motion that we pass a resolution of respect for Mr. David Oswald. I did get a chance to serve with him for 8 years.
Yeah.
And I think it would be in best interest of the county to present a resolution of respect to the family. When is it?
It was yesterday.
Okay.
Motion by Supervisor Trainer, second by Supervisor Little, that we, the county, submit a resolution honoring Mr. David Oswald. All in favor? Motion passes unanimously.
Which goes along with that recommendation. Normally, we do want to present resolutions, but most of the time, the board doesn't meet until after the funeral has taken place. So we don't have an opportunity to present a resolution to the family. I wish there was some kind of way for us to do that rather than having to come to the board for 5-0 vote to get it done, or 4-0 vote to get it done. And we could just have communication with our county administrator and get a resolution done that way.
Is it required that we have to cast a vote?
I don't know, I guess we had to talk to the lawyer.
Yeah.
Had to question our lawyer, board attorney. question our board attorney about it.
You do have to have one.
Well, how many resolutions I can put in there to
Okay, so it does have to have a board.
It'll say, and for the board, and was approved.
Well, it's something for us to look into because we are not doing a real good job of, presenting resolutions to individuals we would like to be able to present them to. So it's something for us to brainstorm.
They had this funeral really quick too.
They did.
But you have to, thank you Supervisor Williams, that's something that we can have our board attorney to explore and see if there's a way.
Thank you very much. Could you carry that as a motion then?
Motion by Supervisor Williams, second by Supervisor Trainer, that we have our board attorney to explore the possibility of being able to issue resolutions from the board in lieu of meeting and casting votes every time. All in favor? Motion passes unanimously.
The next item on my report, we're looking, I want you to find this OCH budget request. It should be next in your packet. If I kept them in order there.
Yeah, you're way off your list.
I know it's in here, but it's
Oh, I got it.
Okay.
Gotta find it.
Okay, number 3, the hospital budget.
So I was not here for this, obviously. You guys, the board voted on the Oktibbeha County Hospital budget request. In the past, we had included $200,000 in the Oktibbeha County Hospital budget. They had utilized that money to subsidize the ambulance service. In the current year, FY25, this board voted to remove that budget line item. And so they did not provide any budget for that line item. The request from Oktibbeha County was $224,000. That request is included in your packet. The second and third order effects of having not budgeted that amount is, number one, that they're having to make some adjustments in their budget to try and cover the difference for what they have to subsidize the ambulance service. But then there's also a $52,000 grant that they're not going to be eligible to receive because a part of that grant, and it comes through the county to the hospital, but the part of those grant requirements is that the grantee will maintain its present level of funding. And then we did not do that, so they will not be eligible to receive that $52,000 this year. Their request is that we pass a motion amending the budget to provide the originally requested amount of $224,000. The options are to let the budget stand, appropriate what we had appropriated in the past, which would allow them to get the $52,000 grant. As long as we don't appropriate less than that amount, then they would be eligible for the $52,000 grant. Or we can pass a motion amending the budget to provide $224,000 as originally requested by the Oktibbeha County Hospital.
I got a couple of questions about that, and I'm asking because I don't know.
Yes, ma'am, and I hope I have an answer.
This there. I knew that the hospital had changed their ambulance, service.
Yes, ma'am.
And I think that that's what we discussed, and I could be wrong, that, that they had, gone from one ambulance service to another ambulance service, and that was why that money.
In talking with their CFO regarding this matter, I was provided a copy of their contract with the ambulance service where they are required to subsidize. So typically the way that ambulance service works is they charge the person they go pick up, right? And all that gets put on insurance and they get paid for it. But the hospital is also required to subsidize an additional, I think it's $224,000, which is what they requested as a part of that contract.
that was there. And my other question on that is, if we do, you know, do anything, will they be eligible to get that $52,000 grant? Or does that roll to the next year, or was that retroactive if we amended the budget?
I was assured that if we amend the budget, that they would be able to submit their application for this grant, and there's $52,000. And I don't fully understand how this grant works, but there's money up there that's been set aside for Oktibbeha County to pass through us to the hospital in the amount of $52,000. If we're unable to meet the funding obligations from prior years, at least that, then they would not be eligible to receive that $52,000. But there is still time, is my understanding. Yes, ma'am.
And I think the way this came about was when the ambulance service was privatized. I think we assumed that we don't have to do any more funding for the ambulance service. When in reality, I think we were still supposed to give
But we
this.
weren't provided anything, were we?
I don't think we were providing any request.
Yes, sir. The budget, well, and I don't know what, I wasn't here for it, so I don't know what this board received. But Oktibbeha County Hospital says that they did submit the budget request that I have in your packets.
But I don't think there was any documentation backing up why.
Yes, ma'am.
Since it was
I
privatized.
can't speak to it.
That's what I
Yeah.
was gonna say, since it was privatized, we were, you know, we're thinking, well, they don't have anything to do with the hospital, because I didn't think the hospital was funding it anymore. That was the assumption that
Yes,
we were
ma'am.
given. Or I was given anyway.
So is this, I mean, is this something that the county was obligated to do your research?
No, sir, we're not obligated to give them addition, you know, the budget has been appropriated, y'all passed the budget, they're asking for a reconsideration of that, they're requesting $224,000, $224,000 budget amendment. You know, we could do one, you know, or the other. I mean, you could give them 224, you could give them 200 that you gave them last year, which would satisfy the
same, or could remain the same.
You said it was budgeted?
There was a 200,000, well, it's like, to this, two separate people did the budget. So the budget was done previously, and then Mance that they changed to a private company. That 200 was in the budget, but it never was dispersed to OCH. Then they came back, and the people that did the budget this year says, well, we're not obligated because they have a private service now, so then it changed. We do not have to budget for it. They want us to do a budget amendment to put that back in there so they can receive the funds. However, I do not know if that's a conflict, because now things have changed because you guys have started the process with selling the hospital. So I would just suggest that you kind of get a little,
I think we need a little more information on that.
Is there a deadline when this needs to be?
I mean, it's just, I mean, not just, but they're trying to get $50,000, and I don't know the legalities of taking the risk of.
I just don't know if we can be in with the sale of the hospital.
Yeah, I'm certain that at some point, you know, there's a deadline, but I'm not aware of what that timeline looks like.
Well, can we table this and actually allow Butler, Snow, and Raymond James to research this? Because that's part of what they.
Yes, sir. You certainly, yes, you may.
Okay. Well, I motion we table this budget request. Second by Supervisor Little. All in favor? Motion passes unanimously, and we'll have Raymond James and Butler Snow do some research on that.
You must be in worse shape than what I think. Finance.
I'm trying to look here at my report.
You said that Butler Snow.
Butler, Snow, and Raymond James.
let's go ahead and talk about this guarantee. I put in your packets the information that was provided to me. I'm coming to the game a little bit late on this. Having not been a part of it originally. In 2021, I was trying to get some background on it. Miss Christiana Sugg, consultant with, and I don't know how to pronounce his name, Goras and Associates, provided a background memorandum explaining everything that occurred on the old Guerin property where it was developed into Aldi's and the shopping center there. And so apparently at that time this board had done a board resolution of intent to support this TIF. At the time they had received the developer or someone involved had received a grant that allowed them to remove hazardous waste removal incentives on this property. Those are referred to as brownfield incentives. They were not able to immediately enter into the TIF until they exhausted those incentives. And so now, 3 years later, they have exhausted those incentives, and that's what's triggered this tax incentive financing agreement to come back to the table. So what we need is a resolution adopting and approving the form of the interlocal cooperation agreement with the city and authorizing the city authorizing the execution of the interlocal agreement.
That's a good project.
Is that costing us any money?
Oh yes, ma'am. We're gonna have to pay 70. We're gonna lose our ad valorem. So what it is, the city of Starkville will purchase the bonds and all that. The bond funds will be provided to the developer, and then we'll have an obligation over time using the increase in the ad valorem tax to pay those bonds back.
But you know, the ad valorem tax on that now is $8,652. But now it's expected to grow to $95,616. So in the long run, we're gonna be getting more ad valorem taxes off that property. We're not getting very much off it now.
I was just making sure that we hadn't double dipped in the money somewhere.
We ain't.
The way the TIF was set up, this was an increase on the ad valorem. We will continue to receive the original amount, but the increase.
Yes, I'm sorry, I didn't make that clear. 75% of the increase
Okay.
is what would be used to pay off the bonds.
Okay, so I was thinking, I thought we
And
done
I
something
actually
else.
talked to Mark Castleberry, and I think it was 75 to 100%, and he said actually about 50% is what, given the growth that it would take to service this.
Okay, well that's encouraging then. That's good news.
So motion by Supervisor Little, second by Supervisor Trainer. All in favor? Motion passes unanimously.
The next item on my report is a request to enter into, to engage Mr. Thomas Stewart, who is a local architect here in Starkville. He runs an organization called Architectonics. Pretty fancy name. Yes, it's just right here where the old laundromat is, down from the Methodist Church. I had a long conversation with Mr. Stewart. I was very impressed. I really liked him, and I think he's got some potential to work with the county in a number of different projects that we may have going on. I would like to have him prove himself by helping us with these 3 rooms that are located just here to the east of the courthouse. Got to be completely renovated. The roof needs replacing. The flooring is has got to be leveled, and then it just needs to be brought up to some more modern office standards. Right now, you know, it's just very old, and air conditioning and bathrooms and all of that needs to be renovated. This is one of the projects that this board has communicated to me that they were interested in doing sooner rather than later, so that we could have some additional space to allow for some growth. So in meeting with Mr. Thomas Stewart, I would like the commission to engage him through all 5 phases, which would be the assessment, the planning, at some point he would come back and tell us his proposal, at which time we would either accept it or not. And then if we decided to move forward, he'll provide us pricing estimates and manage all of the bidding for the contracting and all of that.
He can do that quickly.
Ma'am, quickly as compared to what it takes to do this kind of work, I would think, yes, ma'am.
So
Motion by Supervisor Trainer, second by Supervisor Little. All in favor? Motion passes. Discussion. Okay.
I saw 150,000.
Yeah, so let me make a correction there. I apologize for that. When I put that $150,000 number on there, I was going from what I remembered of talking with Daryl Fulton. Daryl had a contractor come and look at that thing, and that $250,000 estimate there is incorrect by $100,000. The estimate that was provided to Daryl, and this is literally just like a guesstimate, was $250,000, and I apologize for any confusion. Yes.
Is this construction and architectural cost?
No, sir, that's construction, so the architect will charge us an additional 7% on the cost. And of course, it'll all be bid out, and this is being a guesstimate.
So
you know, we won't really know until.
Right. That's good.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second. All in favor? Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. The next item on my report is regarding the Lynn Lane property that we own. So this property was purchased, and I don't know the year. I didn't. It's available. I could have dug back through the files and figured it out. I think sometime in 2019. Yeah. We purchased that property over there. Wonderful building. I mean, it's in great shape. It's a awesome decision by this board to purchase that building. Right now, it's occupied by the Mississippi Department of Human Services, the Mississippi Child Protection Services, the MSU Extension Center, and a small office related to the Octavia County School District, or Starkville Octavia County School District. If you will recall, and I don't know what y'all remember about this, over the last couple of years, the Mississippi Department of Human Services and the Mississippi Child Protection Services has been soliciting the counties to enter into lease agreements on the properties that they occupy. What I'm trying to do is move forward in that, because I would like to see this county take advantage of receiving lease payments. And the way that thing works is there's federal dollars up there, right? And right now, Child Protection Services, Department of Human Services occupy that square footage. We charge them a little bit for the electricity, custodial, supplies, water, that kind of thing. But also available out there is the federal share for the fair market value for that space. So, and this is just some rough estimating, right? Just some guessing. Until I get this information pulled together, I won't have a very close estimate. But let's just say that space over there is worth $20 a foot. They should be able to pay us 50% of that, which would be $10 a foot. If they're sitting on $7,200 square feet, then $10 a foot on that would be what, $72,000, right? So we're in effect, and I'm not confident in this answer, but we're in effect leaving a material amount of money on the table by not pursuing this. And so I wanna get after this sooner rather than later and trying to get entered into this agreement and get that money down here to Oktibbeha County.
How about let's do it?
Motion by Supervisor Little, second by Supervisor Williams. All in favor? Motion passes unanimously.
And if we're lucky, we should see,
That money coming from the state.
yes, sir, it's from the feds through the state, that's right. And if we're lucky, we should see Department of Human Services and Child Protection Services at our conference, this week. And I will talk to them further about that. But Mr. Tennant is a local commercial realtor, and what he's gonna do is, provide us with the fair market values necessary to determine what we can charge these state agencies.
And that was, what was the amount, was that 1,000?
1,200 and, I should have wrote it on that front sheet of paper. $1,275 for comparable market rental research.
Okay. Do you all need that number? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, all right.
The next item on my report is, I spoke with Miss Phyllis Benson. The Mississippi Development Authority, we have a agreement with them regarding the elevated tank out at the North Star Industrial Park. That project's complete, right? Everything done on that thing. We sent them all of our invoices. They paid us all of their money. The only thing is they have not conducted their inspection. So the Mississippi Development Authority has a requirement to conduct an inspection. And so this thing's running, the time's run out on it. We're requesting an extension to this project so that we might get that inspection done to do the final closeout. And that's all that's going on here. So if I could get your approval to extend this agreement.
Need a motion by Supervisor Trainer, second by Supervisor Little. All in favor? Motion passes unanimously.
And what we'll do is we'll request the extension through the board president. They'll probably send some more paperwork down here that'll have to be signed as a result of this request, but this will get us started on it. Next on my report, I'm requesting approval to engage Watkins, Ward and Stafford for audit services for fiscal year ending 9/30/2024. The proposed price for the fiscal year ending 2024 audit is $57,400. That price remains unchanged from previous years. So with your approval, we can engage them.
Motion by Supervisor Williams, second by Supervisor Little. All in favor? Motion passes unanimously.
Next item on my report is a request to enter into a local cooperation agreement with the Tom Digby River Valley Water Management District to clean out and stabilize the Sanders Road Bridge. You have a copy of that agreement along with the scopes of work and different things attached with that agreement.
Motion by Supervisor Little, second by Supervisor Trainer. All in favor? Motion passes unanimously.
And so you guys know that once we've entered into this agreement, then we're gonna need Rob to chase all the easements along with Supervisor Little's help.
I got all them.
So that'll be a part of this. It's not just the agreement, but all of the easements and everything of that nature, so. The next item is to request the payment of some specific invoices. Their list was provided along with copies of the invoices. If you've had an opportunity to look over those, I will not go into each one in detail. The one that's kind of a little bit old is the New Light Water Association. We damaged a hydrant or a water valve out there, and they're wanting us to pay to replace that. The others are pretty routine. Raymond James is having some difficulty receiving in our payments to them. I think we have that all figured out at this point. But there are 2 monthly advisory fee bills for them.
One time, individual. I
We're
make a
gonna
motion
need
to pay
an
them all.
order.
Okay.
I think we're gonna need an order for each one.
I make a motion, we approve item number 1.
Okay, the
That's
New
the
Light Water
Raymond James.
Association.
Okay.
That's gonna be the New Light Water Association in the amount of $2,826.50.
Yeah.
Okay, motion by Supervisor Trainer, second by Supervisor Little, all in favor, motion passes unanimously.
Make a
For
motion.
approval.
Second.
Motion by Supervisor Williams, second by Supervisor Trainer for the payment of Raymond James, all in favor?
Is that both invoices?
Both invoices in the amount of $30,000, total amount of $30,000.
$30,000.
All in favor? Motion passes unanimously. Third one, North Star Industrial invoice.
2 at A and B.
So motion A and B.
Motion by Supervisor Trainer, second by Supervisor Williams, to pay North Star A and B, all in favor? Motion passes unanimously. Last, Pritchard
Motion
Engineer.
for approval A, B, and C.
Motion by
Engineer.
Supervisor Williams, second by Supervisor Trainer. Invoices A, B, and C, Pritchard Engineering, all in favor? Motion passes unanimously.
Thank y'all, we will get those paid. I wanna say, I wished I could say this is the last item on the agenda, but it's not. The payroll changes for the month of, January. Item number 1, the EMA is requesting a $2 an hour increase for all of her employees. I went through a lot of things and wrote up
was in her, she had this added into her budget, didn't she? Like, from last year, it was added into her budget.
That's correct, yes, based on everything that I've been able to look at.
'Cause it was.
All of this was requested, it appears to have been added into her budget, and was.
That's when she came before us to ask, because her employees weren't paid as much as the city and the rest of them, she was trying to maintain them. And so she
And
added
so
it
she
to her
is,
budget.
she is executing what I believe y'all have kind of previously approved
Yeah, we approved
with
that.
these payroll changes.
That in addition to a 3% cross.
That's the only thing
increase.
that struck me is, she had requested $2, then they gave the 3%. So this $2 that you're approving now is in addition to the 3%.
But I
That's
think
a
we
leak
approved,
on it.
I think we approved the $2 last year, and she just never brought it to us.
Yeah.
And then they would have been eligible for the 3, the beginning of this year. You see what I'm saying? Like, she got that approved from us last year for the $2. And then the 3% would have been from this year. Am I not right?
It was in her budget.
Yeah.
When they did the budget, she requested, so all of it pretty much went together.
Went at the same time.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
She requested it with her budget request for the $2, which
Okay.
would then take effect October 1, and it didn't say outside of the 3%, so it's 3.
It's
The
3.
3% was,
Given first.
calculated, and then now she's coming to get the $2 that she requested for the budget.
Which is, I guess, a little bit better because you're not paying the 3% after the $2 raise. You're paying the 3% and then the $2 raise.
There is one individual on this list that I provided to you that has subsequently resigned. I will take that payroll change out of the packet prior to having the president of the board sign that pay request. Just wanted to make you aware of that. I won't name any names here.
Make a motion to approve the payroll changes. 1, items A through M, 2, items A through N.
Motion by Supervisor Trainer, second by Supervisor Little, all in favor? Motion passes unanimously.
Just as an aside, in item 2, A through N, 3 of those individuals did not meet the hiring requirements. So their package will be removed. That would be H, I, and K.
Okay.
I mean, the 3 positions available.
That's right.
All right.
All right. Dee, what are you trying to tell me here?
Watkins, Ward, and Stafford, they need approval to do the contract for the 22, 23, and 24. We've just approved 22. You just got approval for the year of 24. They need 23 and 24.
So we need to amend that on 23.
They're getting ready to start on 23.
So we need to amend the board order for to add 22 and 23.
23 and 24.
23 and 24. Yes.
Motion to amend board order to.
What's the fiscal year ending that y'all are requesting? What's the
23
date?
and 24, because we just approved the 22.
So it's approval for 22, 23, 24.
22, that's the booklet that you
That we
just
just
received,
finished.
that they just finished.
They're
Now
fixing
they're
to
working
start on 23.
They're working on 23. They're working on 23.
It's always a year
Yeah, I
behind.
know it's a year
Yeah.
behind.
Mm-hmm. So they're
That's why
actually,
we approved the 24.
we haven't approved 23.
They haven't, yeah,
So
we gotta
approve
approve
23 and 24.
You have to approve for them, you have to contract them for 23, to do 23 and 24. Y'all, you guys just approved the actual final audit.
audit for 22.
That is just a contract for them to do the audit for 23 and 24.
You hadn't approved the audit.
You've approved the audit for 22.
Okay.
So,
That is a contract for them
finished.
to work on 23
so we
23,
need a new
24.
board order.
So
and 24.
we've approved 21, 22.
No, you've
Yeah.
approved.
Yeah, Dee's correct. Let me show you.
You just
Thank
approved
y'all
the
for that
20, then we do
correction.
the 24
But they're
audit,
trying to
but
clear
it
it
needs to
up.
be 23 and 24.
What they're doing is we're approving 2 audits.
Yeah.
For 23 and 24.
One to begin May the 1st of 2025 for the year ending September 30th of 23. And then the second will begin, July the 31st for the year ending September 30th,
So we
2025.
have to do 24, 23 and 24.
So we need a new board order.
Yeah,
He
you know, once I cook,
requested
you know,
approval to
yeah.
hire Watkins, Ward, and Stafford for the 24 audit.
Get that.
We need to amend that board order and add 2023 and 20.
Okay,
Well,
we just asked for 24.
We
That's
just
correct.
need to add
Okay, we just
23.
need to add 23. How
Need an
about that?
amendment to, for the board order for Watkins, Ward, and Stafford for 23 and 24, not just 24. Motion by Supervisor Train, second by Supervisor Little. All in favor? Motion passes unanimously.
All right, provided in your packet was the January claims docket, for your review. I will attempt to answer any questions if you have any.
Make a motion to pay the claim.
Motion by Supervisor Trainer, second by Supervisor Williams, that we pay the bills. All in favor? Motion passes unanimously.
If I can pass this around.
Wayne, I need this.
You didn't get a copy? You
You want to keep that, just keep that.
Okay, you sure? Okay. I need this in my packet to run with the board orders.
Okay. Yeah. No, she got what she. I'm gonna pass this around. Who made the motion?
Trainer and Williams.
Second.
They'll sign.
All right, I have one final item. It's a walk-on. It came in here late Friday. I was able to finally get a hold of Miss Benson this morning, trying to understand what this is. We received, or Supervisor Trainer received a letter from Mississippi Development Authority asking that we sign this request for an extension, or rather, our request for extension has been approved. So I'm assuming that at some point prior we had requested an extension on the ARC 2022 grant. Now that's that North Star Industrial Park grant out there that we do through MDA. It's also partnered up with a site development grant. Between the two grants, that clearing and grubbing that's going on out there is paid at 100% by these two grants. Right now we have 2.7 million, or the grant was awarded for 2.7 million. We have $1.5 million left on that grant. Now, they're utilizing another grant at this moment to do that 200,000 square foot building pad that's out there. Now the grant that we're currently using requires us to require Starkville and Oktibbeha County to meet a 10% match, and we're splitting that 5% each. But this extension right here is for that ARC development grant. With your approval, I will provide this to Supervisor Howe. Oh, I have copies. I did that with my help. I would have passed out.
This is for the extension of that.
The extension of that grant, and apparently we had requested it sometime previously. We just got to do the signing at this point.
Make a motion, we approve the request.
Motion by Supervisor Trainer, second by Supervisor Little, that we grant the extension, request the extension. All in favor? Motion passes unanimously.
I guess that's to accept the extension. They approve the extension with this letter.
I think so, yes, sir. That's a good interpretation.
To acknowledge the
To
extension.
acknowledge the extension.
Yeah, well, we have to sign it as part of the agreement, and they want one copy, two original copies, and I have those here for the board president to sign.
Does it matter that they have a landowner's as president?
Don't know.
Say again?
Supervisor Trent, they have a supervisor.
I corrected the actual document. I whited it out and put Supervisor Howard's name on there, so that's what we're going to do. Subject to your questions, that concludes my report.
Anything else for our county administrator? Not need a motion to acknowledge county administrator report.
So,
motion by Supervisor Trainer, second by Supervisor Little, all in favor? Motion passes unanimously. Okay, we're now down to county business supervisor. We'll start with Supervisor Little.
No, I just was, I do. My brain
you got those two.
I wasn't thinking, all right, in light of like, all these, you know, bridges, little culverts, little stuff we have going on, you know, that's there. I know that we had, authorized us to do like a part-time engineer in our budget, but I was wondering if we could, maybe do a full-time engineer, because it looks like we have so much work. And one, you know, I mean, you know, have Clyde continue to do our state aid, all that other stuff. But I mean, like, you know, y'all are asking, you know, for work to go, you know, all out there. If we have 40 something little bridges and culverts just in my area that need to be inspected and seen, I think that just one district is gonna pay for a full-time engineer. You know, somebody we have that can go out and that can assist, you know, our road department, whenever we have something going on that they're here, they can go ahead and go out instead of go, well, we're only here, you know, tomorrow from 8 to whatever and it's already scheduled out. Is that something y'all would be willing to think about?
Think about it, but I think he's doing a good job of keeping up.
Oh, look, I do, but if we're gonna have a part-time one, I'm saying we need a full-time one that could assist our road department to get our work done quicker and let him carry our big stuff, you know, that he's doing. Like, he's got $7-8 million worth of work right now. And that is not even gonna include the other 40, 50, 60 things just in my district, you know, that have to be looked at and done. And you're gonna have the same amount, and Orlando's gonna have the same amount, Ben's gonna have the same amount. That's just kinda a lot for one person when we could, and a lot of money that's gonna be spent for one person to do all that. I just think it'd be beneficial for the county to have a full-time engineer.
I'm in agreement. I think there's so much work going on. Then with our comprehensive plan coming in, that's gonna identify a lot of other things that's gonna be required. I'm in agreement. I guess we would proceed by, first of all, changing the board order from a part-time to full-time engineer, and then having our county administrator maybe do some research on some salaries. Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, cause I'm just, when he sat there and gave that scope of work that we have going on in the county, I was just thinking, with all of us having this, you know, to do, I just think that our own person could get there a little bit quicker, you know, than having to wait and have, you know, cause there's still 2 districts that haven't even been looked at yet. And if we had a full-time person, it might push it.
I just think we need to second think that, because we haven't thought yet about all of the expense and material and what it takes to house. Are we thinking about housing an engineer ourselves and providing supplies and equipment for them to be able to do the type of engineering work that need to be done? So I think this is a very expensive undertaking that we haven't thought yet about how much money is gonna go into actually supplying the full-time engineer what he really needs to be able to carry out his responsibility. So I guess I'm thinking about where we're gonna house him at, that person at, him or her, and then how we're going to pay for all of the supplies, or should he bring his own equipment into the job as being an engineer. So it seems that we need to try to get a budget on the table in terms of how much money we're talking about, and how he's going to be able to carry out his responsibility with him or her responsibility with purchasing their own equipment, for the county to be able to supply equipment to be able to carry out. I've seen how much it takes to be able to house an engineer and to be able to supply what is needed to be able to carry out responsibility. I don't know whether the county will get into that or make demands for him or her to bring their own equipment aboard with them.
I would think that we could authorize our county administrator to start that conversation, start gathering some data on that, and give them a little time to sort of get a good idea of what we would be looking at as far as a full-time engineer, report back to the board, and then we'll decide. We can decide. But I think there's just so much work right now that having a full-time dedicated engineer for the county would be the way to go.
We had talked about, and just as a point of discussion, you know, we had talked earlier about identifying an individual as a county surveyor. And to Mr. Supervisor Williams' point, you know, I don't know, if we get a county engineer, do we then contract out some of the surveying and drafting that would support this individual? That might be an approach, but yes, it's a very valid point that you're making.
It's not
It's not just the person with the salary and the fringe. We're also coming in with a lot of equipment, drafting, you know, and an engineer typically comes with soils testing and, you know, a whole soils lab along with, you know, the surveying and the.
It's a very expensive undertaking.
Yes.
Oh, and look, and I agree, and I don't want to do anything with Clyde, because, I mean, you know, do away with anything like that. I'm just saying, we are growing so exponentially fast. I mean, it's just incredible. You know, all the things we have going on, and we are already just so behind that all these developers and stuff are coming in, and we have to have somebody that's gonna be able to be on the forefront for the county at any given time, you know, to be able to go out there with the road department, go out there, you know, with, you know, some of these, you know, builders and stuff, and say, hey, this is gonna cause, you know, water runoff or flooding. I'm just thinking any big county that I can think of has a whole engineering department, and we don't have an engineer at all. We have a contractor. And I'm just saying, you know, that's just my thinking, but we do need to see.
But the reason they have a department is because of the things that Supervisor Williams mentioned.
Exactly,
Yeah, I mean,
and that's what I'm saying. We need to look into how much it would cost and what it would cost to, you know, bring somebody on, because cost is a factor. I'm always about price. But I'm also about moving forward, you know, and trying to get things done quickly and efficiently and correctly.
Yeah, that's my only concern is how we're gonna house them, how we're gonna afford it, and how we're gonna supply the type of equipment that's gonna be needed to do the job. Or will that person be responsible for supplying their own equipment, or providing their own building to be able to carry out their responsibility? All that responsibility is gonna be acquired by the county.
Can we task you to look into that?
Yes, ma'am, I'll look. Y'all can task me with anything you think I can do. Whether or not I can pull it off, we'll see. But yes, ma'am, I'll look into it.
In other words, it's not like hiring an IT person.
Already budgeted
Well,
for a part-time person.
it actually is.
It's very similar in that when y'all provided me with a job description for IT,
right,
my first thought was, this is not one person, this is a department that y'all are asking for.
Right.
Now, we were blessed, we found, Mr. Zitta, who's extremely talented, but he's still gonna be very dependent upon GTPDD and their services as it relates to, you know, servicing all of our needs. So, you know, Mr. Zitta's gonna be kinda handling the whole strategic thing and getting us all on one sheet of, you know, one direction, and then we'll see, you know, I think before it's over, we're gonna be trying to figure out how to engage a couple of more people in IT.
Right. We have a lot of growth that's happening here in our Tillamook County, and I think it's worth delving into the research.
I'll call
an engineer.
Supervisor. I'll call and ask some other counties how they've got their stuff structured.
that's
See what I can't figure out. How much is it having to pay? How's it organized?
That's my only concern.
Yes, sir.
Is how we're gonna implement it.
Yeah, we need to be very careful that we don't.
Yeah,
that we do it right.
We gotta start. We gotta start researching. Yeah.
But I'm just afraid if we don't go ahead and start,
We gotta move.
we gotta start somewhere.
Yes,
You
ma'am.
know, I'm just scared we're gonna be caught.
Well, you had a situation this morning where Clyde had to recuse himself, and that's gonna continue to happen as the county continues to grow.
That's exactly
So
right.
what we have now with Mr. Zitta, we have a person that's employed by Tillamook County. Now, he may have all these other things that he does on his personal time, but his paid time, he's obligated to Tillamook County.
Absolutely.
And that's really what we need.
That's exactly what I'm looking
But I
for.
didn't want to say Clyde may be compromised as far as working for the private sector along with trying to represent the board, and you know, that's like you said just this morning, you know, that conflict showed up. So I think it's worth the research.
And I think you'll find some people, similar, just like you found Mr. Zitta, You'd be surprised. I think you got some people around here that will be able to come to work for the salary that's negotiated upon, which will be in reason, and be able to help us build this thing. That's one of the beautiful parts about being where we are. So.
Well, if we're gonna have to get, you know, much like Mr. Zitta here, we're gonna have to get that higher level person to help us figure out how to build it out and what the requirements.
Yes, whoever the person is, the criteria is, they have to be an expert that can come in and build it from the ground up. Not that they're gonna be leaning on the guidance, you know, to have to be guided by somebody else, but they have their own expertise. They may lean on a soil lab or having to do some other stuff out.
Contract out some surveying, contract out some soil work.
You know, some other stuff in the beginning, but somebody that has the knowledge that can build that program, you know, up.
To include possibly leading our building code inspections and those kinds of things. Is that?
Look, because we're gonna have to start applying for more grants and stuff, and every time we start at -50, that just hurts us, you know, in the process. You know, when you don't have anything. But yes, that's what I'm saying. If y'all, you know, with no codes, you start at -50.
I see. Okay.
and
okay.
There will always be a road for Clyde. Clyde will always have a road here,
Yes.
you know. But,
Yeah.
so I
Moving forward, Mr. President, I just wonder whether we would have some type of guideline that person would be 75% committed, or even 100% committed to the county. Because you can hire a person like that will still have other Clyde type responsibilities outside.
Well, I'm
of
talking
what we're
about,
doing now.
yes, I'm talking about,
Yeah.
but that's why it has to be full-time.
Yeah.
So I think we need to go
We
ahead
need
and
to
make a
define,
motion to
then we need to
amend that
define-
part-time board order to a full-time board
We
order.
need to define what full-time is when we hire a person like that.
Well, they have to sign a non-compete to where they will not be engaging in something that where they would have,
Yeah.
if they had to recuse themselves, it would be from their private, you know, their private obligation, not from the county obligation.
is that your motion to amend the original board order from part-time to full-time?
Yeah.
Well, that,
we
we just have to create a new one. That one was done last year.
Okay.
I would just say just to create a new, completely
They
new.
all have other responsibilities.
Okay. Well, we'll need to repeal the old board order. So because it's not legitimate anymore. Need a motion to repeal the original board order for a part-time engineer. Motion by Supervisor Little, I second that.
Okay.
All in favor? Motion passes unanimously. Now we need a motion to hire a full-time research, hire a full-time engineer. Motion by Supervisor Little, second by Supervisor Trainer. All in favor? Motion passes unanimously.
I need another motion to go along with that, a motion that we develop a job description of a quote full-time engineer that will spell out what we expect in a full-time engineer. So a job description.
Oh, you're gonna have to get one of those to advertise for them.
Yes, ma'am. I have to have that. But I'll bring it before this. In other words, this one I think there's a lot of
Questions.
A lot of questions. So I wouldn't dare jump out there and advertise something without at least bringing it to this board first.
Right.
And that way we all have a good understanding of what we're trying to accomplish in this circumstance. Because I think we don't know for certain.
Yeah, it's a little unsurety
Right.
out there right now, but I think we can work through that.
So that's my motion to develop a job description for a full-time engineer.
It's been moved by Supervisor Williams, second by Supervisor Trainer, to develop a job description for a full-time engineer. All in favor? Motion passes unanimously. County Administrator.
For the board's edification, the next job that I'm focusing on is human resources. I have that job description developed.
Okay.
It is a position that was approved by this board at last budget. So, That's the next piece of work that I'm doing, along with developing this job description and trying to figure out how we're gonna move forward here, but that one's fixing to go out.
Sound good.
Perfect.
Okay, anything else coming from board? Supervisor Trainer?
Yes, sir. I got a couple of items I'd like to get, if the board so fit, get some resolutions on. In your package, you see, we submitted some information. We've been in contact with Mr. Ballweber, who is with the Pickering firm that does our special projects and whatnot. We've identified some potential funding sources out there for the county. One road in particular, Crawford Road, and maybe some other ones that are out there. Of course, you know, we got a new administration on the federal level, and everything, of course, is subject to change, but I think that we need to kind of be ahead of the game as it relates to some of these things that are out there. So I talked with Mr. Ballweber about a particular grant that we looked at, which is a planning grant. And I guess it's kind of ironic that we talked about Robinson Road, because Robinson Road is not too far. It actually intersects with Crawford Road, so this may be something that could maybe encompass that entire area as it relates to a planning grant. But there are some dollars out there on the federal side that I would like for us to look at pursuing. And basically what the board would have to do would to come up with pass a resolution making this a priority with the county or some other priority so we can pursue some of this funding. There's an email thread that you probably have that you can read at your leisure with all the ins and outs about that particular road, Crawford Road. And then number two, there was a grant that was submitted, a flap grant that I think Supervisor Williams worked on some time ago, and that application opportunity is back open again too. And I don't know whether you want to resubmit that previous application, or you may want to look at possible with the Robinson Road scenario, maybe some opportunities out there, I don't know.
Well, that grant was done very quickly, and probably need to rethink some of the language in it there, but that is a real good grant because that is a federal road, because it's leading to a federal lake. That's a federal lake that is leading to. So it is Bluff Lake, the Bluff Lake Road, leading to Bluff Lake itself. So we think, and Mr. Carpenter, I don't know whether you know him or not, Mr. Travis Carpenter.
Not Mr. Carpenter.
Travis Carpenter worked with me on that flap grant, and I think it's a good one because it's a federal project. It's a federal project and it's not a very expensive project from there. So I would like to resubmit that particular grant. And I don't know, we have three that we can submit, I believe. 1, 2, and 3, and I believe Crawford Road is gonna be number one recommendation.
Well,
we have three possibilities.
Well, Mr. Baldwell has always advised us to try and identify priorities coming from the board as far as projects, and he has also talked to me about being consistent with these same projects, even if they don't get funded. He want to see us be consistent in resubmitting these projects because he says it's not good to have this as a priority this year and then next year you change your priorities.
Can't have to stay the course until you get
you got to stay the course, and so he's advised that let's identify some priorities, stick with those priorities, because each time you submit it, you're getting closer and closer to getting it funded. But when you change priorities each year, you know, it just, you don't hardly get it. So we need to, as a board, identify priorities, have him start working on those, and stay consistent with those priorities.
I like the funding of Crawford Road. I know we've been working on that project for quite some time, and I'd like to see it eventually be funded there. We've also been working on the Artesia Road for quite some time, and that Artesia connection with Hale State Boulevard Hill State Boulevard to up top. Really goes to Artesian. It keeps on to Artesian. Come, Hill State Boulevard has already received federal dollars. It's just on hold now. For some reason, that project is on the shelf. And we'd like to get it off the shelf from Hill State Boulevard to Artesian Road. And I think Mississippi State worked on that one. They very in favor of that. But I think too, the whole Artesian Road project is a good project. We have asked for funding on that project in the past, and it would be good to do that whole corridor.
Doesn't that intersect out there with the rest of that, with,
Crawford.
keep on going around, goes to Crawford all the way to the county line?
Yeah, that's all, that's to the county line.
Up to Lowndes County, where Lowndes County has a big nice sign that says, you know, you're leaving Lowndes.
Sure is, that's right.
Because the roads are nice,
That's
and
right.
then when you get across that sign, our roads are bad.
Our roads are bad.
And
that's
so,
right.
I think,
And that's the Artesian Road. The Artesian Road is bad. We've tried to do some base repair on it, and I think Supervisor Trainer tried to do some base repair. But we need to do something with that road that we can be pleased with. Really pleased with.
Don't you think that we can don't you think Mississippi State would help us push that kind of agenda? Because coming off of, 45 people coming to football games, baseball games, basketball games, all that sort of stuff, and it connects back in, cause when people go down there, there's no lighting, the roads are bad, it's, and if it connected back into Hale State, coming all the way, around, I'm just wondering if we could get a lot of support.
That was a plan one time called the Southern Bypass that encompassed all of that area. I don't know where it's at, but the university was on board with doing that.
Because there's so many people that are out there that actually, work, at the steel mills and other places that use those roads all the time, shift work, all that other stuff. So I'm kind of thinking that it might, would help, even in the Lowndes County area, if they wanted to add their part of the road, to it. If it was, I felt like maybe if there was more people behind our ask, you know what I'm saying, where everybody was united in it, that it really might help push through a whole lot of dollars. I mean, I may be dreaming high in the sky, but
you gotta identify. Yeah.
So.
Go ahead, Supervisor.
But now my thinking on this was to just get, we got to have a resolution of support from the board. It needs to be unanimous. And then of course, what we do, we look at all of our resources. With this new administration, there's gonna be some things that's gonna be kind of time sensitive. That we need to be already have our decision made, so when that time comes, we can say, hey, here's what we got.
Yeah.
And then be ready to stand in line. We don't need to be trying to.
Yeah,
we need to already have
legwork done.
Well, do we need to call Ben if we're gonna vote on it, and so we can be unanimous?
Well, I guess when.
Well, these have deadlines, and these deadlines, say for instance, like the flap grant, some of them are out until March, and we got these early.
We've got.
We can actually
because actually in my district, Center Grove, that water association can no longer accept any customers that have been trying to depend on Maven to hook up people to get water. So that would be an important project for me over in District 3.
Well, let's just, between now and the next meeting, you identify these important projects, and let's put them on the table, and hey, we got to come up with something.
And guess but I think we forget, we have one group pushing for us, but we got another group we can get pushed for us too.
Absolutely.
So we can have one group have, our people, that.
But this is when Jeff is on the federal level.
Yes, but I'm saying on the federal level, the other, Austin Barber's.
That's on the state level.
Well, they can lobby on the federal level too.
Well, they do, but at the same time, they always work together on everything. But of course, Pickering has always been the lead on stuff on the federal side.
Okay.
And they've never really tried to get any type of state legislation, or they try to respect one another's
territory.
Territory, so to speak.
Okay, I didn't realize that. I just thought we had two groups, so I'm all about using both of them.
Well, we are using both of them.
Yeah.
Clearwater advocates, they're down in Jackson now, you know, but you, yeah.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah,
I'm good.
but we need to identify, priorities, and, again, like, Jeff said, we identify these priorities and then be consistent with them.
So we could all have like several priorities and do like a priority one, like y'all did Morgantown Bridge for me, you know, last year, even though.
Or develop criteria to determine what is a priority.
What is priority, yeah.
So whether it's the number of people impact, the traffic counts, or whatever.
And,
It's applied.
yeah, and come up with, but at least they can take all of them up there, or several of them, you know, the top two or top three, you know, cause I think we did two last year, didn't we?
But now on this flap grant, I think we ought to go ahead and resubmit that. You know, especially unless you wanna change the road or something like that, but if we're gonna go with the same one that didn't get funded.
What was the reason that flap grant didn't get funded the last time?
I think it was just a competition. We got everything submitted at that.
And I think it was Clyde drew up Clyde went down and did some inspections and drew up some plans, submitted it. It was, if I remember correctly, it was something else besides just competition.
And it's pretty straightforward. It's about a 6-page document. It's not difficult to do.
Well, can we wait till then until we get a full board and identify projects instead of then identify priorities?
A quick project. It was a quick turnaround on that. So I'm glad now we do have some time
Because
to work on
you got water, I got water, I got bridges out,
Yeah.
but we just need to figure all that out.
Get some priorities there instead of, and we've got time to identify priorities. Supervisor Williams?
No, I don't have anything.
Okay. I don't have anything coming from 3. I guess we need to go ahead and try and identify these priorities just as quick as we can. Supervisor Trainer, do you have any suggestions when we can get together and try to identify priorities?
Hey, I know this week we're going to the MAS, so I guess, when do we plan to meet again? If we're gonna meet in 2 weeks, that'll be on the 17th.
Yeah, and maybe we can have.
Can we just set aside some time on that day to kind of maybe discuss some things and come up with some things?
Sounds good.
And then identify the funding sources, because like I said, once you have the funding source identified, that'll kind of dictate what the project's gonna be.
That's the 17th is President's Day.
We're not off that day.
Okay, all right. I'm just making sure.
But now we
don't get that holiday. No,
But
y'all can give it to us if you want to.
I would like to be in the morning time. That's fine with you?
All right. So I have nothing coming from District 3. Need a motion to set an adjourned meeting for 9 a.m. on the 17th. Motion by Supervisor Little, second by Supervisor Trainer. All in favor? Motion passes unanimously. Need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Supervisor Trainer, second by Supervisor Little. All in favor? Motion passes. We are adjourned. We made it by noon.
And I did just want to put a bug in everybody's ear that,
We didn't identify the funding source, I think you said that. I'm sorry.
a couple of weeks ago, it happened in Lowndes County, and it also happened here. The Chancery Clerk and Judge Paul Ellis got